I'm a divester. I only date Brad. I don't date Jermaine.
Okay, go be happy.
Okay, go be happy!
I'm out of here. She's crazy.
But I'm an independent. I don't need no man.
I got a black man on my arm. Where's yours?
With the patriarchy! Down with the patriarchy! Down with the patriarchy! Down with the patriarchy!
The Bible says a foolish woman will tear down her own house with her own hands. Just look at the black community. SYSBM.
I choose the bear. You can never have me.
You can always call 1-800-CALL-A-BEAR.
1-800-CALL-A-BEAR. Hook up with your bear today. I will not be held responsible if that bear, well, you know.
Lord, bless this food I'm about to receive. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Bitch, you on YouTube too!
I'm done with life, and it's all Jermaine's fault. It's always Jermaine's fault. I'm done.
What's going on, everybody? AB Media 83 here, and welcome to Colosseum Night. Tonight's topic, it's always about what you haven't done as a black man. Well, that's just a harsh reality, and shout out to the angry man, because that's where I first heard it from. It's never about what you've done. It is always about what you haven't done. And unfortunately, that is the life most black men have to put up with. It's always about what we haven't done in life. Doesn't matter how much we accomplish. Doesn't how smart or intelligent we are. It will, for particularly black women, it will always be about what we haven't done. And unfortunately, the only reason they're able to get away with this debauchery is because the government backs them up. Now, they pretend they're not influenced by the government, but they are. And it's obvious. And it needs to be called out. And that's one of the reasons I made this little short, because it's just true.
Down with the patriarchy! Down with the patriarchy! Down with the patriarchy! Down with the patriarchy!
The Bible says a foolish woman will tear down her own house with her own hands. Just look at the black community. SYSBM.
All you have to do is look at the black community. It's been ran by women for the last 200 years. It actually had a good run until they started getting checks from the government, and now the black community is in shambles. People don't show up for family reunions anymore. People like me don't want to be around family anymore because we're not willing to be the doormats for our family. And it is what it is. Nobody wants to put up with the bullshit anymore. And we actually asked sisters, what would it take to fix the black community? And fortunately, black men are doing this right now. We have to walk away. That's the solution. That is the solution. That we can't tolerate the bullshit that's going on anymore. We can't tolerate the black church that doesn't do what it says it's going to do anymore. We can't blindly kiss the Democrat Party's ass anymore. Yeah, I said it. Quiet as it's kept, there's a lot of black people in the cult and they don't even know it. It's called supporting the Democrat Party. That, by definition, and the way some black people do it is they're in a cult. Just look at the pattern. You say one thing against the Democrats, and you could curse Jesus out. You could curse God's name and they would still deal with you. But if you curse that Democrat Party, you ostracized from the family and all that shit. Here's the other reason I made this graphic. A foolish woman will tear down her own house. Anybody looked at the black community? And don't even get me started on divestors.
I'm a divester. I only date Brad. I don't date Jermaine.
Okay, go be happy.
Okay, go be happy!
I'm out of here. She's crazy.
That's what happens to divestors in real life. Now, full disclosure, I do have some black female cousins that are married to white men, and I'm happy for them. And I hope they're happy. As long as they're happy, I'm good. But that's not necessarily directed towards them. That's directed towards the heifers that get online talking about they date white men, and they're really only here to bash on black men. What's going on, Snowman? What's going on, Horitz? And I believe that is AL. Links are already in chat if you want to come up. But yeah. And don't get me started on the I'm independent.
But I'm an independent. But I'm an independent. But I'm an independent. I don't need no man.
I got a black man on my arm. Where's yours?
Why do you think black women are following black men over to Thailand and places like that? We have the snowman in the building. Why do you think the Gynocracy gives him that look every time him and Jody show up to a restaurant?
Man, look. I mean, allow me to explain. Okay. Mm-hmm. Jody and I will celebrate our 8th year together. This month we'll celebrate our 7th wedding anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, June 25th is our 7th wedding anniversary. We've been together 8 years. To say that Jody and I have been through some bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Good, Andre.
What's up, Andre? It's an understatement, man. Why do you think? Listen, why do you think I love hanging with you guys, and so does Jody whenever she does get a chance to hang with us, huh? We don't give two shits. Apparently, that guy not. You know what? I'm trolling when I say apparently. The Gynocracy does. I'll just throw it out there. The Gynocracy does.
Well, before we get too serious, we got to talk about these NBA finals. I have to hand it to the Knicks. They proving their haters wrong right now.
They're proving me wrong. They are proving me wrong.
I gotta take my hat off to the Knicks.
I gotta take my hat
everybody
off.
Wrong right now.
Listen, I gotta take my hat off first and foremost to Jalen Brunson, who is from Chicago, played at Stevenson High School in Lincolnshire, Illinois, and also to Karl Anthony Towns, who is doing a whale of a defensive job on Victor Wembanyama. The experience is paying off for the Knicks.
And even if they lose the series, they made a statement.
Yeah, they did.
Even if they lose the series, they made quite a statement in these first 2 games.
They took 2 in Texas, and I said it at the top of my broadcast on Friday. Are the Knicks going to be greedy and go for 2, or will they just be satisfied with getting 1 in Texas? They got greedy, and I'm happy for them.
About 1.2, but they got 2. You got to take your hat off to them.
Absolutely.
Nobody saw that. I can tell you, no commentator saw that coming.
My ass certainly didn't. Let me be totally real. I did not see that coming at all. And you know something? I will happily admit it now. I happily admitted it yesterday, and I'm damn sure going to be happy to admit it on Monday. Monday is game 3 at the world's most famous arena. And I will at Madison Square Garden. I'm doing that.
I'm sorry, Madison Square. I'm sorry.
Did you say Market Square?
Yeah, I said Market Square.
It's okay. Hey, look, Jody did
to be fair, the Market Square was a famous. Was a famous arena. It was. Elvis did a performance.
Horowitz says, they'll give it all back at MSG. You know what? I'm waiting for these 2 games, Monday and Wednesday at Madison Square Garden, because it's going to be off the hook in New York.
You have to take your hat off to the Knicks because they've actually made this series interesting.
Oh, yeah, they stole 2 of them in Texas. Now, if the Spurs are anything like I think they are, I see 2 extremes happening. They're either going to curl up and die, which I doubt very seriously, or it's going to piss them off that they let 2 games get away at home.
We'll have to see what happens.
We're going to find out come Monday at the world's most famous arena. And that's a double play for me because I got the Indiana Fever playing Washington. So I'm going to have 2 monitors set up in here, which means I'm going to switch this big mixer out, which I don't want to, but I need the room because I got to have 2 monitors in here. I'm going to have one on my left looking at the Fever game, and I'm going to have one on my right looking at Knicks and the Spurs.
Yeah, they couldn't pull off against Liberty today, huh?
Nope. First of all, it goes both ways in this game. First of all, the fourth quarter that the Fever played was absolutely piss poor. All right. But I will couple it with this. The reason why Indiana played a piss poor fourth quarter, or part of the reason, is that they were not getting the fouls.
Okay.
I mean, they're getting fouled. They're getting walloped underneath and nothing. I mean, there were 2 drives Caitlin Clark made to the basket. One was a basket. The other wasn't. and no
Okay.
whistle. So I'm going to be monitoring that all season. So Indiana's 5-5 now, but they're doing a game better than they did last year.
Okay.
So I'll take that. And anytime we played 10 games so far, and Caitlin's played all 10, that's a win right there.
Okay.
That's a win. That's a win right there. It's up to Stephanie White to figure out the best rotation to use. And Sophie Cunningham called out her team, and rightfully so, after what I saw tonight. Play defense. They got to be locked in defensively. There are 34 games left in the there are 34 games left in the season. Okay. Remember last year, everybody wrote off the Las Vegas Aces and they wound up winning the bitch. Watch this. Everybody's going to write off the Indiana Fever because of what happened in New York. Now, I hope it pisses them off to the point where they get their act together, and I think they will. I really believe they'll get their act together.
Okay.
I really, especially with all the dumbass rumors that are swirling right now. And Dan Dockich, shut the fuck up. I'll say more on Monday, and I'll leave it there. The Knicks win. Horowitz says if the Knicks do win this in 6, this will be the second ring for Maurice Cheeks. His first was when he played with the 76ers. Yep, that was 1983 when they swept the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah. Now let's have a little fun here. Did you see the one where I have the woman tearing down the house with the axe?
I'm sorry, what?
Well, before I play the one I want to play.
You better set this one up for me.
Yeah, I made this little number. I send it to you via
Did you send it? Yeah, I think.
Down with the patriarchy! Down with the patriarchy! Down with the patriarchy! Down with the patriarchy!
The Bible says a foolish woman will tear down her own house with her own hands. Just look at the black community. SYSBM.
I adore that. I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
It's nothing but true.
Unfortunately. But let me show you the video that actually inspired that.
All right.
Here. This is under BFF. And I believe it is, this one.
Don't have no peace because of how you've done God's daughters. It gets even worse when you get married because the Bible says that when a husband does not honor and mistreats his wife, his prayers are hindered. Oh, go read it.
Wrong.
First of all, well, actually, she's right, but there's a little problem. Yeah, but there's a problem.
Okay.
Does that look like anybody's wife to you?
Where is Bishop Bullwinkle? Hell no. To the no. Hell.
Go read it. 1 Peter 3:7 teaches us that your relationship with God is directly affected by how you treat your wife. Some of y'all
don't. First of all, why would a man marry you when your mama didn't even teach you manners? You're not supposed to. Seriously,
you're not supposed to. Well, first of all, you're not supposed to talk with your mouth full.
Exactly.
2, given the state of social media, and I've been guilty of doing this a couple times, you're not supposed to eat on camera. Okay.
To be fair, I did it once, but I was making fun of somebody.
Right. To be totally fair, I have eaten on camera in extreme situations, i.e., I just got back home many, many times, as you know, AB, from picking up my daughter from work.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to get my show ready.
So let's
You
continue.
don't even like women. You just want to use them. You think that God finna just keep giving you daughters for you to fumble?
You think God gonna give you a husband for you to fumble? Oops, did I say that out loud?
I'll say it even louder. You think God is going to keep giving you men to fumble, let alone husbands?
Even if you don't want that woman, go back and make things right. Get your peace back.
Okay.
How do men do that? It's still our fault anyway.
Time. Make it right. What if she is at fault? Wait a minute. I take that back. It's always Jermaine's fault, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask this lady a question here. And she's not going to like it when I say this, but what if the woman not only is at fault, but causes the rift?
Oops.
Physically.
Well.
Mentally, emotionally, because that's all the gynocracy does.
Yeah, y'all so insufferable. A lot of men just get up on trying to get their kids and just go make another family.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that they don't love the kids, but you're so insufferable, there's no point.
They give up.
Every relationship that you've stepped in haven't worked out because of how you've done his daughters. You think that God finna just keep giving you daughters for you to fumble? Why would God could just keep giving you his daughters for you just mistreat? Your hearts are hardened toward them.
Okay.
Go back and get it right.
Time.
I promise you. Some of that peace, it'll come back.
You want some peace? Think about this. What if within that relationship / marriage, and I was married to Acacia once upon a time, that she blatantly tells you that she does not believe in your dreams? What if she blatantly tells you to give them up? What if she blatantly pulls her love and support away while you, black man, are at your lowest? Am I making sense here?
Yeah.
Because all three of those things happened to my ass.
Now, keeping with the title, it's always about what we haven't done. We got this sorry heifer.
The reason why George Zimmerman and Rick Chow felt that it was okay to murder black boys in their own communities is because they knew the black man wasn't going to do shit. And they were going to go to court and fight in a white supremacist society and win.
Come here.
Are
Paul.
you kidding me?
I've been on record for years.
That you have.
I don't know too much about this case where this Asian guy shot a 14-year-old. I haven't looked at the case, but I've been on record for years. If I ever see George Zimmerman in real life, it's on site. And what she's not telling you is George Zimmerman is not stupid enough to roll up in a black neighborhood anywhere. I don't care how safe the neighborhood is. Oh, and by the way, why is she like George Zimmerman got away? Last I heard, George Zimmerman was homeless and on the street, and nobody would give him a job. Oops. What's that old saying? Karma's a bitch. Anyway.
Karma's a bitch, and she's wearing Timberlands.
When they were going to be released from jail, they were going to go back to living their civilian lives as if nothing ever happened.
Yeah, George Zimmerman is homeless. Stop it.
George Zimmerman went so far as to try to profit off of the murder of Trayvon Martin.
But she's
20-second time out here.
Yes.
What?
Basically, what she's saying is, despite the fact George Zimmerman and this other guy did the crime, basically what she's saying is,
I'm done with life, and it's all Jermaine's fault. It's always Jermaine's fault. I'm
Yep.
He sold sign bags of Skittles to mock his death. And he still walks around. Yet in between the
Homeless.
time the George Zimmerman murdered Trayvon Martin to today, there have been thousands of black men killed by other black men across America.
And how many of them were on the orders of black women? Oops, did I say that out loud?
The
May I
problem
repeat
is that
that
the men
question,
in the
please?
And how many of them were on because somebody was being a crash dummy for a woman? Oops.
Let me make that a current question. How many are still the crash dummies?
Too many.
community that are raising these boys.
Because
and I don't mean
y'all
they
fucked
daddies.
them
I
up.
mean the ones in the streets that are raising these young men. Is they're teaching them that their enemies look just like them instead of raising them to be real soldiers. Crash out on.
And most of the what she's not telling you is most of the YNs that are teaching YNs that were raised by single mothers. Oops. That's the part you're leaving out.
On the right ones. Because guess what? Other communities, that's what they do. They round up the YNs of their community and train them.
No, they leave their communities to a certain area and don't allow them to come into their richer communities. Stop it.
To fight.
You know, snowman, you married to a white woman. You know they don't allow hillbilly Bob to go up there with
Hell no.
They don't intermix like that. Come on, stop it.
And you're talking to wait. And this is coming from a black man that lived in Terre Haute for a year and a half. I lived in Terre Haute. Bitch, I lived in Terre Haute, Indiana. I've been happily married to my white woman for 7 years, going on 8. Really?
Mm-hmm.
She can teach you. You know what? I have a song for this young lady right here. And I believe you know it very well. Use a troll. Troll! Use a troll. Troll! Use a troll. I said that use a troll. I mean, while I'm playing sounds and the sound effect tax is in effect because I got to get some groceries for my family.
Oh, by the way,
Serious impulse control problem.
I don't know if you noticed, but I have been remonetized. So in other words, like, share, subscribe, hit the Cash App, support the show, hit the Super Chat, support the show. Put some money on my books.
Put some money on this man's books, please. And I also ask that y'all put some money on my books as well so I can continue to help my family. And I really need some money on my books because next month, gonna need the help to get my CDL because I start training next month. It's set for July 5th.
Okay.
So I'll throw this in here right now. So if y'all can help a snowman out and help his family, that would be great.
Get my Cash App too. You see it at the bottom. Scroll at the bottom of the screen.
Okay, I see it. I'll throw yours in this chat also. Oops, spelled it wrong. There you go. There we go. Double play right here. The AB tax is in effect. Put some money on his books, and the snowman tax is in effect. Put some money on my books as well, please.
Now back to this sorry heifer.
Them, not against them. We are in the land of our captors. Pay attention. Learn.
No shit.
Did you learn?
No, she ain't learned shit. That's why she's running her mouth. She ain't learned shit. That's why she's running her mouth.
Of course she didn't learn anything. Of course she did. Of course she didn't learn anything. I mean, let me think. What sound can I play? Oh yeah, let me. No. I can't use that. I can't use that one. Can't use that one either. But I do. I got one. I got one I can use. I can use this one. Huh?
Because it's always about what we haven't done, but we have.
Right?
It's always about what we haven't done, but we got dumb bitches like this.
It's a really good thing that the birth rates are declining, because that means women are now being
what in the all types of blue hell?
And I'm like, clock it, okay?
Okay, now if you didn't hear that, she said, I think it's a good thing that the birth rates are declining. You know what that means? You do know what that means, don't you, sweetheart? That means you don't have enough people to properly run the country in the next few years. That's what it actually means.
And I actually think it's a really good thing that the birth rates are declining, because that means women are now being so selective of who they procreate with.
Time.
Well, first of all, why would we procreate with your ass?
Exactly. May I invoke the late great Kevin Samuels, please?
Sure.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up.
You really can't.
And I'm like,
cannot make this
clock
up.
it, okay? Yes. Not everybody deserves to be the father of our children.
And as you're proving right now, not everybody deserves to be our baby mama.
Leave it right there, please. Leave it right there.
As you're proving right now, not everybody deserves to be our baby mama.
Folks, take a look at that face. When you see a face like that, two things come to mind. Number one,
I am too old for this bullshit.
And number two,
I ain't got no time for this bullshit.
Now, look at now, gentlemen. I know some of you are thirsty, so I need to point out a couple things. Notice the titty tattoo.
And
notice that, and we don't know that's a real face because that makeup is purely caked on there.
Let's play over under, shall we? This is one of our favorite games in the Colosseum, and the subject is how many pounds of makeup is she wearing?
I would say at least 2.
What do y'all think? Higher or lower? I say higher.
Probably it might be higher.
Okay, be so
I say it's higher.
We're also prioritizing.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was the caption, but still, that doesn't eliminate that about 3 or 4 pounds of makeup she got caked on her face.
Is it just on her face?
You know what I mean? Yeah. We're being more careful. 2, we're going to college. We're starting businesses. We're evolving.
Yeah, you're going to college and still dumb as fuck. You're starting businesses that are not successful. You have your own houses where you have an absurd mortgage that you got because you didn't have a man with you. Oops, I say that out loud.
Oh, Horowitz is lower. None of that is prosthetics.
Oh shit! Oh damn, Horowitz ain't shit. Man.
You like that? You like that?
Oh man, shit.
In our careers, and then we're like, okay, when we're ready, that's when we'll become mothers.
Oh, and that's why, as BGS has pointed out, that's why the death rate for women has gone up. What's going on, Louis?
What's up? Hey.
Yo, Snowman, will you be broadcasting Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
Well, I can't confirm. I might be in New York City if the Knicks win. I stream, like you send me the link and you can stream on your channel when they tear New York City up.
You're on. You're on. Hey, thanks for popping in the other night, Louis. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I was getting off of work when you were streaming.
Yeah.
Like I said before, I gotta hand it to the Knicks. They made this series.
Listen, I give all the credit in the world to the New York Knicks. They're up 2-0 right now.
If they win, you're going to need the National Guard and FEMA in New York City. No, you do not understand. You do not understand the magnitude. Look, you have I'm trying to find the right term for this. You have legacy franchises like the Yankees,
yes,
the 49ers, Cowboys, things like this.
Right.
The only thing I could say that would exceed this is like if the Jets win the Super Bowl. No, because the Knicks haven't won nothing in so long, and you got
1973.
Yeah, so you have a generations of people that never saw their team win.
Right.
And they are in the largest market in the nation.
In the nation.
9 million motherfuckers are going to converge onto Manhattan.
Well,
you're gonna have millions of people if the Knicks win. You're gonna have millions of people from Madison Square Garden, which is 33rd Street, going all the way up to Central Park, which is 72nd Street.
Man,
you do not understand. This is gonna be pure mayhem.
I get it. I saw they kept showing shots of the watch party on 33rd. If it's anything like that, MSG will not stand. Yankee Stadium will not stand.
No. Yankee Stadium will stand. Nobody's fucking with Yankee.
Right.
Okay. Nobody's fucking with Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, that's the new house. That's the new house that Jeter built.
Yeah. I mean, nobody's messing with.
They're not gonna mess with Derek Jeter.
Closed. Yeah.
But if they have a chance to win on Wednesday, I'll make sure I get the link to you so you can dual stream it. Okay. I will get it to you.
Yeah. Because God, this look. You had motherfuckers in Philadelphia eating horse shit when the Eagles won their first Super Bowl.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
You had Boston act crazy when the Red Sox won.
Oh yeah, 3 times.
The first, when they so-called broke the curse.
Oh, the first one, 2004.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing is going to compare to if the Knicks win.
If the Knicks win,
telling you.
If the Knicks win it all, part A, and part B, if they win it in MSG, no matter if it's game 4, if it's game 6.
Right.
Because the way the Knicks are playing right now, they're going to have 2 shots to win this at home.
And look, I'm a New Yorker.
Yes, sir.
If they win, Brunson will be on a level of Jeter as a sports god in New York.
Oh yeah.
Jeter and Towns will have fucking sandwiches made after them. You do not understand the magnitude. And I'm a Celtic fan saying
yes,
this.
Sir.
I already bought a Knick hat. I just I want to go there and witness what will happen. It's like a prophet in a book. I'm just going to write down. I got to document this shit. So
you and me both, man, because I've seen all my teams win it all. I've seen every team that I follow, including San Antonio, win it all. I've seen them. I've seen and I've heard them win it all because before he retired, one of my dearest friends is Bill Schoenig. He was the voice of the Spurs, radio voice of the Spurs for a long time, 24 years. And he recently retired. So I've seen my teams win it. And you're right, Louis. This would be on par with the Jets winning the Super Bowl, because the Jets haven't won a doggone thing since 1969 when they won Super Bowl III.
Look. All you're going to see in New York is niggas with do-rags. Niggas with blue do-rags, Knicks jerseys, jean shorts, and Tims.
Because listen, Louis, I laugh because I understand the big city thing, winning it all. Okay, I'm from the third largest market in the country. I'm from Chicago. Been there, done that. All right, I was there when they were flipping cars upside down when the Bulls three-peated the first time. So believe me, I have a very good idea of the potential crash out in a good way that will happen to the city of New York.
Look, if you want to get laid, just rock some Knicks shit. Be in the city when they win. Like, you're gonna have drunk bitches there. Like, yeah, let's celebrate, baby. Like, yo, it's gonna be a bunch. It's gonna be a bunch of. If it's a bunch of boy babies born in New York, 9 months from now, they're gonna be named Jalen. I'm telling you.
Or Carl.
Yeah.
Or Carl. Or Anthony.
What's called the Nick Baby Boom, huh?
Listen, this is how dire the city of New York wants to see the Knicks win it all. Okay? They want to get revenge. There's one player that the Knicks winning a championship will have his sins absolved forever.
Patrick Ewing?
Charles Smith.
Oh, all right. Oh, with the 5 layups?
Yep. If the Knicks win a world championship, Charles Smith and his missed layups in June of 1993 will be erased and absolved forever.
If I'm not mistaken, that was against the Houston Rockets.
That was against the Bulls.
Oh, the Bulls. Oh.
East Finals, Game 5. East Finals, Game 5. Listen, Ewing's already absolved. He's one of the greatest Knicks of all time. Okay,
yeah.
He 2 trips to the finals, played in one, couldn't play in the second one because he tore his Achilles. He's already absolved. He got the Knicks there twice. Okay,
mm-hmm. And the first go round with Houston, they had a chance. But when the one where you had Latrell Sprewell and Larry Johnson, New Yorkers was just happy that they made it to the championship. The first go round when Jordan retired, everybody thought it's up for grabs.
Yep, they did. And the thing, and like I said, Ewing's absolved forever. Willis Reed is absolved forever. I mean, Willis Reed won 2 titles. So did Clyde Frazier. All right, their last title was 1973. Charles Smith, Anthony Mason will be absolved of their sins forever if the Knicks finish the job. No matter how many games it takes, no matter how many games it takes, they will be absolved of their sins forever. If they win it in New York, God help that city.
Look, AB. Yeah. This is a city that wanted to give a Chinese motherfucker the keys to the city because he had a 10-game run.
Jeremy Lin. Mm-hmm.
That's how fanatical these fans are.
Oh, I remember that. Jerry Lin. Yeah, I remember that.
You had Lin Sanity and the Knicks tapes.
Yep.
Carmelo Anthony, all of them. Yeah. If they win a championship, this would be like when what was that a couple of years ago when they was acting the fool in New York City with the riots, the civil unrest, like during COVID and all that, because shit was shut down. Mm-hmm. This would be times 1,000, and motherfuckers are celebrating. I'm telling you.
Agreed.
Our new star, Stephen A. will wet his pants too. Yeah.
Oh,
listen, Stephen A. already.
Stephen A. would be out there looting with them. You know what?
Yeah, he would. Yeah, he would. All that shit he talks, He's a New Yorker at heart. It would be it would be New Year's Eve in Times Square times 100,000.
Yes.
I'm telling you, Madison Square Garden is on 33rd Street.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be a sea of humanity
Mm-hmm.
all the way up to Central Park, which is 40 over 50 some blocks. Not all everybody from all 5 boroughs will be in Midtown Manhattan.
5.5 miles of it will be 5.5 miles of people, bumper to bumper and ass to ass.
And if you want to get ass, buy yourself a Nick hat.
Yep.
And a Nick t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And find you a drunk bitch.
That's what happened in Chicago. Every time a team won, and listen, every time either the Bulls or the Blackhawks won, same thing happened.
Mm-hmm. But this is going to be magnified.
Oh, I know it is. Because the Knicks have been the butt of everybody's jokes for many, many years until now.
Yes.
They've been the butt of everybody's jokes, myself included, until now. When they pimp smap Philadelphia, they beat the brakes off of Cleveland.
They took their soul.
Yeah, they did. See, Philadelphia is now going to be the new joke. Philadelphia is now the new joke. And if you go back to 2021 with the Philadelphia 76ers were the number 1 seed in the East, and they choked against, of all teams, Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
In a 7th game in Philadelphia. Man, please. If the Knicks win it all, the Sixer fans won't be able to live this down. The Celtics fans won't be able to live this down.
No, we will, because look, we got 18 rings.
True. So
look. You're going to see Fat Joe, ugly fat face on TV for a whole year. Spike Lee is going to make another low budget film so he can put Jalen Brunson in it. And Michael Jordan, if the Knicks win, Michael Jordan better do the right thing and make the Knick color blues Jordan sneakers with his logo, because they got I think it's the number 4s with Spike Lee's logo.
Yes.
Michael Jordan might as well release the blue and orange ones with Spike Lee's face on the back. And they would sell like crazy. I'm telling you.
They would sell out in a heartbeat. They would sell out in an hour, no matter how many they produce. They would sell out in a heartbeat. Oh, gracious.
We live in interesting times.
If I did a funny skit on my show. I'm from Chicago, and I hate the Cubs. I cannot stand the Cubs or Cub fans. I did a skit on my show entitled, "What if we experience a Cub apocalypse?" I may have to revise that. And what if the Knicks win it all? Do we have a Nick apocalypse?
Great question.
Because with every scenario that Louis is describing right now, it's a Nick apocalypse waiting to happen.
And here's the thing. They have to win this year because
they do.
Because this is the beginning of the Wemby era. If this guy stays healthy, he's going to be a force.
He is.
And so this is their opportunity. They got to win this. Yeah.
This is their window.
Salute, Adrian.
What's up, Adrian? Salute to you.
For those of you who don't know, Adrian Thomas sends me a lot of articles behind the scenes. Me and BGS.
Nice.
So salute to Adrian Thomas.
And Adrian's exactly right. That's why Ben Simmons is no longer in the league. Ben Simmons had no heart or no balls or no jump shot. And The Celtics fans are going to be fine because they got 18 titles.
Right.
You know, okay. Since we're talking about New York, you know, a set of fans who will never be able to live this down. The Brooklyn mess.
Look, they're not New York. All right, they're from New Jersey. They're still considered.
Oh yeah, the Brooklyn mess. Okay, yeah,
New Jersey. That they should be the New Jersey Nets. The New Jersey Nets made 2 finals appearances
with Jason Kidd. Yeah,
with Jason Kidd, and they should still be in New Jersey. What have they done since they've been in Brooklyn? I'll answer that for you. Not a goddamn thing.
Nothing.
Nothing. That's why I call them the Brooklyn mess.
And even if they win, it's not going to be on the level of the Knicks.
No, not at all.
Look, and this fan base has been starving. I mean, look, you had the Rangers that got theirs with Messier.
Yes.
And you just got the Jets and the Knicks that's waiting
left.
to get a chance. Yeah.
It's left. Because every other the only other team that's waiting to get one in the modern era is the Islanders. But the Islanders have the last New York dynasty because they won 4 cups in a row from 80 to 83. 81 to 83, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, and they went to 5 straight Stanley Cup finals.
5 straight Stanley Cup finals. So the Islanders have been absolved, okay? Because they were the dynasty after the Canadiens, and they bridged the dynasty between the Canadiens and the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, and they was an expansion team too, and they won it.
Exactly.
What? So I mean,
they're fine.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the Islanders represent Long Island, not New York City.
Right.
The Rangers, that's New York City. So I mean,
I watched that cup celebration. I watched the entire Game 7, and I watched that cup celebration. I'll never forget what Gary Thorne said because it was on ESPN. I'll never forget what Gary Thorne said. The curse is over. They've done it.
Look, I implore everybody, Monday, watch the game. It's gonna be. It's like they smell meat, like blood. It's like raw meat, feeding raw meat to a pit bull. It's gonna be insane. And if they win Game 3,
it's over.
It's over.
It's over. It's over. The Spurs have to win Game 3 now, and they got to do it in New York. If there's
shit. We got the Texan in the build. Oh boy, we have the Texan.
Howdy do. What's up? The Spurs down 0-2. Will they be able to come back? That is the question.
No. No, they won't.
So says the sports announcer from the Midwest. Okie doke.
No, actually,
that wasn't me. That wasn't me.
That was the East Side. That's Louis from Jersey. What's going on, Namer?
Hey, sorry I'm late.
All right.
I'm late like Liz Taylor. Yeah, I know.
I got about 30 watching. Like, share, subscribe, hit the Cash App. Support the show. Hit the Super Chat. Support the show. Yes, that's right. My Super Chat is back.
When you get out,
wait. Whoever your lawyer is, make sure you send him the BGS.
Yes, please.
So
only problem. Yeah, here's the problem also. Them goddamn visitations he's getting from what's her face, because she always wants that emotional labor, and he's just tired of the bullshit, man.
Are we talking
tired of the bullshit?
Are we talking about May's dumbass?
Yeah.
What did May do now?
What happened?
No, she didn't do anything. She didn't do anything now. I'm just saying, overall.
Okay, then
you remember that?
Nah, don't mention that. Don't mention that heifer again. Anyway,
I didn't mention the heifer. I didn't mention the heifer to begin with.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
I did. I will take
Mhm.
the L on that for mentioning.
Okay,
It's cool. It's cool.
Let's just.
Hey,
let's
that's
just
a perfect segue. Going with the theme of tonight, I'm going to play Dr. T's video first.
Okay.
All right.
Start from the beginning.
Was responsible for it, but I do believe it became a tool that Black women had access to that allowed them to live out the
family court
fantasy of the independent woman, the idea that white women, put forth on a regular basis. And I think because of that, the fantasy it really kind of captured Black women's imagination. And shout out to AC. He talked about this yesterday, I want to say, in one of the shows he did, and he was talking about how many of his family members used to watch stories every day. He said they planned their days around watching.
Yes.
In other words, the soap operas
and stories. And this is important because, as he pointed out, this was where many women got the idea of how white women lived, wealthy white women at that, but for the most part, how white women lived. And he talked about the ways in which that form of media excited Black women's imagination about how they should be living. Then they began to measure Black men against these kind of fictional ideas. So I thought that was a very important point because we see that in media in general.
That's one of the reasons why it's always about what you haven't done.
Right.
But that was a media that was targeted specifically at women. And then eventually in the 1990s, it became about reality TV, and it's kind of metastasized from there. But between consuming that kind of media and in the corporate or government workspace, working alongside white women, I've seen this happen where they were directly influenced by how white women lived. They often didn't know the inner workings of how white families could afford certain things, but they did see the lavish, example of it. The clothes, the jewelry, the trips. I remember my wife, when I was a graduate student working at the Claremont colleges, she would occasionally get jobs on one of the campuses. And at one point, she worked for the Office of Major Gifts, I think it was, at Scripps College, which is a women's college in the Claremont network. And, it was all middle-aged, well-to-do white women. And here she is living in a cottage with her husband, who's a graduate student. So, we were, scrimping and, trying to get through best we could. I'm holding 4 jobs. I'm in grad school. She's trying to decide whether to go back to get her bachelor's. And at that point in time, she'd come back every day from working with these rich white women. So, they would come back talking about trips they took, and we couldn't afford to go anywhere, much of the time. So you can't tell me these kinds of, influences didn't play against the Black family itself. And that's one of the things I want to talk about today. Now, the first thing I want to show you an example of is one way the breakdown of the Black family begins to happen in terms of social expectations of Black women. Let's check this out.
I've been a Black woman for going on almost 50 years now, and been able to reproduce for almost 40 of those years. And despite having a great amount of upward social mobility in my life, both is ranked by educational attainment and economic attainment, I have never, ever had anyone encourage me to have children. And as long as that is the case, that our concern about birth rates is a conversation only being had with white women or women with proximity to whiteness, in the case of some ethnic minorities, I would say that anytime someone wants to have a conversation about pronatalism, they really want to have a conversation with you about white supremacy. No one is encouraging Black women to have more babies.
Well, nobody is. We know there are other issues that go with that, but I wanted to start with that. Nobody, pressuring well-to-do, especially upwardly mobile Black women who are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s to have babies, right? And a lot of that is because of how feminism, socialized women to think about families. Families were an afterthought. Career and independence came first. And once you secured that, then it was suggested that you go ahead and have a family, have babies, right? But Black women themselves double down on this idea. And I've seen this from older women to younger women. They've told these younger women over and over again, don't have kids, don't get married, don't get into relationships until after you finish.
Yeah, go get your education. Don't worry about no man while every other woman in college is trying to get a man while they're in college.
Yep. Yep.
Oops.
Your degree and you've gotten your career together, this kind of thing. So yeah, people have stopped. There's very little social pressure for women, the Black women, to have babies, and we know in terms of the abortion rates since the 1970s, we're talking over 20 million abortions in the Black community. Black women initiated that. That's higher than any other demographic of women. Right? So it's not surprising to me, but it still speaks to the breakdown of the Black family. Now, again, that's happening on a social and a cultural level, but I want to take it back to the family court's influence because this became a tool that Black women could regularly use, and they did. They did. Right? I think it was instrumental in breaking up the Black family because it was the vehicle through which they could do it. right? The social shaming about whether or not to get married, whether or not to have kids, that's one thing. The passing down of certain ideas and worldviews about what women should do in situations in regard to family production, whether or not they should be independent, whether or not they should get married, those are practices that are handed down. But the family court was a very unique kind of situation going on. And that was that, older women especially used to tell younger women that it could be used as a punishment if a man did not give her the lifestyle that she wanted. It could be used as a means to an end. It could be used
yes, indeedy,
in a predatory fashion to identify men who are well-to-do beforehand.
And because they have this predatory system, that's why it's always about what you haven't done. People don't think about that, but anyway.
Trick him into believing that you cared for him, have a couple of kids, and then depending on the state and what its laws are about divorce and property after divorce and so on and so forth, take at least half his shit at a certain point in time. This has been used in predatory fashion, preemptively, right? The popular story is that women just grow unhappy, or the relationship just falls apart because he's boring, he doesn't attend to her emotions, and then she has to divorce him to find her freedom, to find her agentic voice. Like, this is the kind of narrative that we're given.
Or in Tia Mallory's case, to quote unquote graduate from her husband. Anyway,
about how divorces take place, but nobody wants to talk about how and when it's used in predatory fashion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons we have to talk about family court, because this was the vehicle whereby, poor women, wealthy women, frail women, sturdy women, it didn't matter. They all had an equalizer in the government in regard to the family court that allowed them the capacity to overwhelm, underdevelop, and completely obliterate their husbands at a whim. This is not a product of black girl magic. This is a product of black girl subsidization.
Yes.
They were subsidized in this particular way and given a certain amount of power. And I've talked about this for the longest. The issues in the black community as it relates to family formation and predatory, treatment by black women in regard to access to institutions that black men don't have the same kind of access to. This has been the most devastating impact on the black family. It's being torn apart from within by giving one demographic power over another, right? This is what we're going to look at today. And I think it's underestimated and downplayed, but it's unilateral.
And what's not talked about enough, all of this comes from the slave farms. This is how they kept the slaves in check, by putting the woman in charge of the family. But nobody wants to talk about that.
Lateral use against black men is the foundation of the breaking up of the black family, right? And this is what's contributed to the diminished birth rate, marriage rate, especially over decades, and what's been happening with traditional family formation, right? So let's take a look at something. So this is a blog piece that I wrote a little while ago. This is September 11th, 2025. And it's entitled The 16-Point Policy Foundation of the Black Gynocracy. And what I talk about in this piece is how the Black
By the way, that link is in the description if you want to take a look at that.
Gynocracy has managed to sustain itself, right? Now, it is, again, subsidized by the state, and that is where it has always gotten its power.
Yes.
So this is not some kind of natural, biological, or even cultural feature where black men are dominated in some fashion by black women. These are resources, right? And you can see the 16 points there in regard to the different aspects of what has empowered what I've argued for years as a gynocracy, right? Now, I'm not suggesting that black men are wholesale servants to black women, but I am suggesting that when the state subsidizes one demographic against another, it can be extremely difficult to maintain standing in the midst of it, right? So we know that black men suffer more aggressive experiences with racism in terms of outright violence. That's not something you're supposed to say in professional company. It's considered uncouth. And there are feminists who will argue with you about it. But if you look through the majority of the history, black men have and still are dying at the highest rates in regard to just outright racist violence, white supremacist violence, violence from the state. It is what it is, right? So, when you talk about the rise of the gynocracy, you're talking about how, the average woman can function, average black woman can function dealing with the less extreme acts of racism on a day-to-day basis, especially ones that don't take her life. Number two, female excused military drafting policies, right? We haven't seen these used in a while, but we know it can be used at any point in time. And as long as women have not historically and do not contemporarily have to worry about being drafted and put on the front lines, because that's what they did with black soldiers. When you look at Vietnam, and you look at different wars, what they did is they put black men on the front line. Black women aren't experiencing that. And this is actually what led to some of the independence movement in the 1960s and 70s in the black community, is because many black men went to war. And many didn't come back, and some who did were damaged. But the point was, women functioned independently because they didn't have to go to war, right? And that has a dramatic impact on how the Black community functions. It just does. It's a policy based, and most of these are policy based, but that's what I mean when I say they're subsidized by the state. Number 3 is the gynofocal welfare practices. Gynofocal welfare practices means that when it comes to welfare resources, historically, women have had greater access. Now, by law, it's gender neutral. And we know there was a policy, regarding the man in the house rule that meant that if she was caught living with a man, she could lose her resources, which also meant that men didn't get the same kind of access. But those practices continued after those laws were formally dismantled. And that just means that to this day, when it comes to welfare access, women have a greater access to it than men do, just on a basic level. This has a dramatic impact on survivability, and just the overall kind of sense of having a safety net. Most men do not believe they have a safety net because they don't. Women function a little differently. Whenever I've met women who've lost jobs, who've had difficulties with housing, women are a network, man. They're almost an encyclopedia. Even my mother, I've seen this. They know what resources are available, where to get them, and they talk to their girlfriends. They have a network, an information share.
But do they share that with Black men? I believe the answer is no. Just saying.
Network. I'm tempted to say, well, men need to do the same, but what I found is it's not feasible because those resources are not often available to men. Right? The information that I hear these women exchange, even if you try to apply for them, you won't get them. Not only because they're not even written with you in mind, but it's often women who are facilitating the distribution of those resources, and they do not prioritize men across race, but especially Black men. So that's a practice. Number 4, gynofocal family court policy. And that's what we're going to deal with. I'm going to come back to that because we're going to actually go to that section. You got gynofocal reproductive pharmaceutical technology. All that means is that women got the pill, and women had complete control over their reproductive capacity. Now we got a piece of rubber. We got the abstinence. I mean, we got abstinence. We got a piece of rubber. I mean, we're over here, lighting fires with sticks, and they have nuclear technology. That's essentially the difference. I'm not saying it's comfortable for them. We know that some of the medication used over the years has caused pain. It's caused all kinds of problems. But in terms of
and hence the reason I created this little meme right here.
Down with the patriarchy! Down with the patriarchy! Down with the patriarchy! Down with the patriarchy!
The Bible says a foolish woman will tear down her own house with her own hands. Just look at the Black community. SYSBM.
AB, can I say something?
Go ahead.
I mean, it's a little nuance with it, with that, and I agree with it. But this is why it is very important. When I was coming up in Newark, okay, you had JV. I mean, you had Pop Warner football. You had a Boys and Girls Club,
right,
in every ward of the city. At night, in every ward, you had the gymnasium of at least one school in the area that was open to 10 o'clock, at night, where young boys could stay off the street and, they play basketball and everything. And also, you had a plethora of karate schools, gyms that were run by police officers and other people that donated their time to teach kids boxing and stuff like that. You do not have these things no more.
Unfortunately,
these things were very important, which it channeled that high testosterone energy. It channeled it in a positive direction.
Right.
I'm a Gen Xer. You didn't have the amount of teenage pregnancies that you see now, because the young men had avenues to go to that could channel that energy.
Right.
Because it's a cruel thing when a young man is going through puberty, that sexual frustration. It needs to be channeled. His time, a young man's time, need to be occupied going into positive directions. You do not have these things no more. And this is where, if you want to prevent this stuff, this is where you're going to need men that's going to have to, like, you know, do volunteer time, mentor people, so these to reduce these things that are happening.
Right. Yeah. Very true.
You don't have these things like, as me coming up as a child, I had avenues to go to that could, where I could preoccupy my time and stuff and be focused in a positive direction. I had mentorship. I had mentors. And like I forgot who it was, where a couple of days ago, where I said I worked at a funeral home. I think it was Art New Styles last stream. If it wasn't for the Churchman family, they played a very pivotal role in where I'm at today. I worked from 9th grade to 12th grade at Churchman Funeral Home on the weekends. They're the third oldest African-American run mortuary service on the East Coast. And I see her at least once a month, and I always give her flowers. If it wasn't for her, she was the main reason why I am in a position that I am today. Unfortunately, you do not have that today with a lot of these young men out here.
Yeah, you want to hear something messed up? All the black funeral homes in Indiana are owned by white folk now. All of them. Williams and Blewett, Summers, Lavinia Summers, are all owned by one funeral home company. And I have to give this funeral company credit. You don't see white folk in those funeral homes. You see black folk, but it's white folks running it behind the scenes. To their credit, it be black folk running the funeral home, but but it goes to Louis' point, like, those places aren't there anymore. Let's continue.
Productive control. The emphasis has always been on women.
By the way, like, share, subscribe, hit the Cash App, support the show. Hit the Super Chat and support the show.
Imagine what would have happened if men had access to a pill that could take away their capacity to reproduce, and then, by simply stop taking it, they can have it back. And imagine that pill was given to men.
Yeah, the birth rate would drop by 50% at least. But anyway.
In 1960. How different do you think the situation would be? I think it'd be a dramatically different situation. Number 6, gynocentric Title IX. Right? And all of these you can click onto and read in more detail. Just go to newblackmasculinities.wordpress.com and look for the 16-point policy foundation of the Black Gynocracy. You could probably Google it. But anyway, so you can look at it in more detail, the Title IX differences, the difference in treatment and pedagogy and curriculum from K through 12 as it relates to boys versus girls. And this is one you can see across race. But of course, black boys are often at the bottom in every capacity. They're usually in a race toward the bottom with Native American boys. But because there aren't as many Native American boys, it tends to be black boys that are at the bottom, K through 12. And of course, that impacts whether or not they're able to even go to college. And I know many people are pushing for trades, but if you want to go to college and you know that there's a systemic mistreatment of black boys that prevents it, that's a whole different situation than making a conscious choice to not go to college. The choice is being taken from you, right? And that's something that needs to be grappled with, but it has a direct impact on black male quality of life and the black family, right? More access to need-based financial aid, right? Of course, due to historically higher rates of incarceration, this has dramatically impacted black males' access to financial aid. And of course, college graduation rates, black gynocentric affirmative action hiring. I talked about this repeatedly, whether you're talking about DEI, whether you're talking about affirmative action back in the day, it was still rooted in a practice that made black women double minorities because they were women and because they were black. And in 2026, you now have to add on sexuality. So if they're queer, women and black, they have greater access, or at least they did prior to Trump. When Trump began to remove these DEI practices, of course, it had a backlash against black women, even though I'd say it had a wider impact in terms of raw numbers to white women.
Yep.
But it dramatically impacted black women, not black men so much because we weren't being prioritized by DEI or affirmative action anyway. We didn't check as many boxes, right? The black gynocentric media, just like I mentioned with AC, talking about stories, talking about, reality TV, media that's focused on prioritizing women's narratives, right? This is a problem. You know, I just got through watching a couple episodes of Tyler Perry's Divorced Sisters. And it's one of the most chaotic shows, a group of women who are friends and have husbands and boyfriends, and every episode is nothing but pure drama. Pure drama. I watched one scene where a pastor's wife told a black man that he was the devil incarnate, while two of her best friends that very same day murdered two other black men. She had nothing to say to them.
It's not about what you've done. It's always about what you haven't done. Good Lord.
On behalf of the word of God.
Yeah, it sounds like some Tyler Perry to write too. So,
AB.
Yeah.
You know what they need to do? They need to revamp Scared Straight. Like you don't want men fucking with these ratchets. Do a version of Scared Straight where it's showing real life men getting fucked up by the child support system, and show young boys what this shit is happening. And also, a Snowman, you there? Oh, Snowman left. Damn. When I came up, we came up during the height of AIDS, and when I was when I was in high school, we had people from the Department of Health that used to speak to the whole school, and they showed pictures of what AIDS did to people, like genital warts. They showed a woman's and a man's genitalia being the side effects of these sexually transmitted diseases. And I could say this, that played a big role also. And you didn't have that many single mothers back when I came up. I can only speak for where I live at, because I remember I was afraid to kiss a chick because I didn't want to catch AIDS, because I came up during the time they said so-and-so got HIV. 3 to 6 months later, that person shriveled up and died. And now where you got these medications now that, you know. Yeah, they can live forever. You can live forever.
Well, the thing is, and the thing about that, Louis, to your point, and we had a discussion of something similar like this earlier today. I had a discussion like this similar today. And I said that when it comes to discussions about STDs, especially like AIDS or whatnot, it's been normalized, especially with the availability of ARVs, antiretroviral medication.
Right.
That everybody, you know, when they say, "Oh, AIDS ain't that bad," look at Magic Johnson.
Yeah,
fool. I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that actually, dude. You don't know what kind of. First of all, Magic had money, which he had access to certain medical facilities and medication that most people didn't. And when he started undergoing treatment for it, he had to take a whole lot. He had to take cocktail after cocktail medication. First to treat the symptoms of the virus. Then the second one was to treat this, that, and third side effects of that medication. And this, that, and third boost his immune system. Until the mid-90s, when they started finding more simpler forms of it with less side effects. And pharmaceuticals will tell you, the current set of ARVs, their potency is starting to wane because you got to worry about certain strains that are drug resistant. And there's still research being done about it, but people don't talk about it like they need to. And in the global South, where I come from, it's still a death sentence. It still keeps you, your opportunities limited to a greater extent.
Yeah,
you can't travel. You can't get access to certain, medical treatments like that, and you can't get access to certain institutions because you still have the stigma of having that red ribbon. Same thing with
these are the
herpes and whatnot.
Being distributed
Go ahead.
in popular media, and they cater to women. So women love it, have no problem with it. Y'all know how Tyler Perry gets down. He prioritizes them because they pay his bills. But what do you think the long-term impact of these narcissistic stories that fixate on their worldview, their feelings, their reactions to any given phenomena, and men being second fiddle, if at all, right? Greater access to nonprofit industrial complex, that's been dramatically reduced in the last year and a half, but that the long-standing
in fairness to Tyler Perry, that Joe movie was that was not geared toward women at all. You know, Joe's movie on Netflix. I try to get BGS to watch it because he actually went pretty hard at the feminists. I was shocked.
AB,
at least since the 1980s. That
go ahead.
Let's go back further than Tyler Perry. 1995, Waiting to Exhale.
Oh gosh,
He's a good man. He's a good man. Just this, that, and the third. And that, and a thin line between love and hate.
Mm-hmm.
Those movies influenced a lot of Gen X women. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, my mother
and millennials when they were coming up. Go ahead.
My mother hated that movie.
Which one?
Waiting to Exhale.
Oh, okay.
She hated that movie because she pointed out that all the women in there were sleeping with married men except for one. Yeah, my mother hated that movie, but yeah, the drama in that movie, yeah.
That I witnessed meant that many black women had access to resources, sometimes millions of dollars, jobs that black men couldn't get. Many black men couldn't even get access to those resources to set up nonprofits, right? Lower unemployment rates. You know, black women have traditionally had lower unemployment rates. Even in 2025, there are only 2 spike moments or so where theirs exceeded black males, and then it went back to normal. And nobody had anything to say about how long-standing black male unemployment rates have been in the position they're in, right? Not even in the black community. It's only an issue when black women start losing jobs, but when black men start, losing jobs, and usually they're losing jobs the most, but before, during, and after black women had those couple of spikes in 2025, nobody had anything to say about it anymore. There were no more CNN CNN pieces on it. There were no more, think pieces being written on how many black men were losing their jobs because it didn't matter. It only mattered when black women did, even within the black community, right? Lower incarceration rates. That means if they're not going to jail like black men, that means they're available to other opportunities. Mm-hmm. Even if it's welfare, they still have access to other opportunities that many black men don't have the same kind of access to. And I'm not talking about men who are going out and necessarily committing crimes. I'm talking about men who are even accused of it. I just covered the other day, the percentage of exonerations in this country that are black male. Over half the exonerations through the Innocence Project are black males. So This is not just you'll hear people talk about incarceration strictly in terms of black men committing crimes, going out and doing this intentionally. That does happen, but it happens in every group, especially those who are the most impoverished. But when you actually have a system that has made you the face of criminality and decided upon your guilt before you were even a citizen, then we have to be honest about how that system treats black men and how you're treated before the situation even takes place.
Like I said, it's never about what you've done. It's always about what you haven't done or what you messed up on as a black man. And that's the sad reality that we have to live with in this country we call America.
Assumed about you, right? Lower criminal sentences. We know across race, women get served 63% less sentence time for committing the same crimes as men.
Yes.
Now that's across race. And black men are the most incarcerated per capita. Then sounds to me like criminal sentence length is an extremely important facet of this conversation. And if black women, even when committing the same crimes, are getting less time than black men strictly on the basis of gender, then that's a significant difference in the quality of life because it means you don't have to go to jail. You don't have to deal with the long-term impact of having that on your record. It's a different quality of life that becomes available to you, even if only minutely. Female familial headship. This is a product, really, of number 4, family court policy, which we're about to get into. And then, of course, the last one, limited access to DNA testing. I'm making the argument that DNA testing is doing for men what the pill did for women in the 1960s. I'm not saying, of course, that it's the same thing, but I am saying that the impact that it's going to have is going to have the same kind of nuclear explosive impact on the black family, right? Between the pill and the abortion in the 60s and 70s, women have had a dramatic amount of control and impact over the black family. Mm-hmm. Now, due to DNA testing, the potential is there for black men to have an incredible impact, especially if we're successful in making DNA testing mandatory. But even if we develop a culture of being unapologetic about getting tested, even if you have to go behind your wife or girlfriend's back to get the child tested, it doesn't matter, especially before you sign the birth certificate. If you manage to get a DNA test, you can set yourself up for success over the long term. But let's look at number 4, more particularly, gynofocal family court policy. It says no fault divorce, e.g. no fault divorce. Since the 1970s, black women learned that upon divorce or in relation to questions of child custody, the family court's belief that women were naturally better parents put them in a position where they could presuppose success in court. For a significant subsection of them, they began to prey on men by planning pregnancies and marriages, intent on fleecing men for resources a priori. This contributed greatly to the increased rates of divorce initiated by women as opposed to men in America since the 1970s. In many states, a man may be ordered by a judge to pay child support for a child that isn't his as long as he signed the birth certificate, even if it's been proven he was manipulated by the mother to do so. And one should not underestimate how prevalent false accusations of abuse or child molestation has been in terms of securing the court's empathy for the wife/mother of the child as victim. In fact, lawyers have motivated their female clients to file such charges to secure successful court out.
Yeah, Dad said talked about that, unfortunately. Very common to be falsely accused of messing with your kids. That's fucked up. And then people wonder why the birth rate is going to shit.
Comes, right? Now, I played this video before. You can go play it yourself. This is an Austin, Texas DA, explaining to lawyers how to use abuse claims to help secure women's successful judgments in family court. I'm not going to play that again right now, but feel free to do so. Go check this out, right? Because this is happening all across the country, and it's been happening for some years. But we're talking about the family court for a reason, because we're actually going to watch a section of a show, and shout out to Jawanza, who sent me this, dealing with family court bias. Now, this is actually going to deal with it across race in a way, but it's a conversation on a show called Counterpoint. And this episode came out April 22nd of this year.
I got about 30 watching. Like, share, subscribe. Hit the Cash App, support the show. Hit the Super Chat, support the show.
We're going to deal with this whole question of the family court and its impact on families. There is one brother, and you'll notice throughout this discussion that his experiences are a little different from everybody else's, a little more aggressive. But let me check the volume here. Let's check this out.
The court system is biased against fathers. We'll start by bringing up everyone that agrees now. I'm not. Okay. Oh. Okay.
Obviously, every case is different, but in my scenario, I got divorced in New York, and in New York laws, if the mother doesn't want joint custody, the father's out of luck. So basically, I had to fight to even get some sort of visitation, some sort of anything, and basically, my daughter or most people's kids will graduate college at 22, but the law is 21 in New York to pay child support. My exact lawyer's words were, if my ex-wife wasn't I would agree to 22, but the law's the law.
For example, early on, like my daughter's mom was able to get a protection order that was based on like meritless actions. Like there was no evidence of me doing any of that she was talking about, and they just gave it to her. And when I was like, well, I'm gonna get a protection order then, and they didn't give me none of my stuff or whatever at all. And I was just like, okay. And I just thought that was just kind of tasteless to be able to just get something that had no evidence behind it, because anybody can just come up with anything and say whatever.
Based off my situation, there was a scenario where I chose to put a protection order in. It got denied, but I did it for the right reason. It wasn't to be hateful or spiteful. It was because there was psychological abuse going on. It didn't always have to be physical. And with that being said, when I was trying to get it approved, the judge denied it, and the very next day, my ex was able to go in and get it approved right away. I was like, man, what the heck's going on? Because I'm like, I'm getting damaged too. And I realized that there has to be a victim and a villain. And I'm not sure how this correlates. There's gonna be a lot of opinions about it, but I was trying to play me. I wasn't trying to play a victim or a villain. I was trying to say, hey, I'm getting stuff happen to me, like help protect me. And I couldn't get that protection.
Yeah, so in my situation, we had our falling out. My girlfriend at the time moved out, and she was doing her drinking thing and going out all the time. And I had my daughter for like 4 months straight, full custody.
See, black men are the canary in the coal mine, and now it's happening to everybody.
She didn't ask to see her at all. She was just out doing her own thing. Well, I received a thing in the mail one day that she filed for full custody. So we go to court, and I'm like, I've had her for 4 months straight. And the judge, we had all this evidence and stuff. He literally opened up the folder that my lawyer handed him, shut it, set it down, and goes, 50-50 custody. And you guys figure like the extracurriculars out. He goes, here's child support, 50-50 custody. He was like, done.
Yeah, this goes back to the 10 New Years doctrine. The whole idea that women are naturally
Yes, BGS talked about this 10 New Years doctrine. It goes back over 100 years.
Primary parent. This is an old idea, but it wasn't always the case. Even in Europe, at one point in time, men were actually the custodians of children in the eyes of the law. But this shifted, and now people believe that this is some kind of natural thing that's existed since the advent of human existence, but it's not. It's a policy idea that shifted at a particular point in time. So even when men are demonstrated to be the better parent in a given situation, I've seen countless cases where judges will just overturn it, give the child to the woman, even if she's a threat. We know that that's not what's supposed to happen. The law will say.
Yeah, I just was reading about a case. This chick, she already had one kid taken away from her, but they left these very young twins with her, and one of the twins passed away because of her negligence. Oh, and she's pregnant again. Black woman. You can't make
that wasn't by accident.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That that's not what they do, but it happens nonetheless, and yet nobody has much to say about it.
Didn't even look. And I think Nebraska has notoriously been known as like a mother first state.
We're gonna come back to Dr. T. We're gonna have a little fun here. I need some entertainment. Shout out to Messy Mention. I can pronounce her name right. Evidently, this is supposed to be quote unquote Pride Month. They want they have this pride parade called Transformers period. You heard that correctly. Transformers period, as in the menstrual cycle. Let's just say that Bessie Mention's take is hilarious.
Nothing. So this is a video from BCP, Black Conservative Perspective. It says, woke Democrats face major feminist backlash after celebrating trans period pride. Did you hear what I just said? Trans period pride.
Right. I mean, the power of drag is that you can be anything you want to be. You can express yourself. There's drag performers that look all kinds of different crazy fun ways. And we think in my community that that's a great thing to show kids, that it shows kids that they can choose their own destiny. And that's what, let's say.
Why are you going for, okay. Why are you going for the kids? Are you sick? Okay, anyway.
Gay is about is saying that is like, it's okay to talk about these issues with kids. That's not something that's going to harm them.
All right, I'm going to start with you, Joey. So this gender insanity cost the Democrats the 2024 election. The most effective.
Yes, it did.
Ad in the last campaign.
It was one of the reasons I didn't vote for Democrats for the most part.
Campaign was the closing ad where it said, she's for they, them, Trump's for you, right? Why are the Democrats so obsessed with this issue and bringing this up, even though it's such a political loser for them?
Yeah. How does any of this help any of us? This is how I want to present it for you hating ass biatches that might be listening all in, that think that I have a problem because I say this is some bullshit. How the hell does this help any of our lives moving forward, Bueller? What about this is going to make
Bueller?
Make me think, you know what? Let me go ahead and go vote for the Democrats because, child, I need men dressed like women to tell me about fucking periods. Bueller? And I need them to talk to my grandkids about this because I'm a fucking idiot and I don't understand, or their moms and dads are idiots and we can't talk to them about sex and anything else that goes on along with being a female, as a real fucking female woman, talking about myself. I can't teach them. I need these motherfuckers, men at the end of the day. And the part about it that I said before, is that you feminist dumbass bitches are sitting up here, black and white, are listening to men. You hate the patriarchy. You hate misogyny. You hate men, allegedly. You're misandry, right? But you will listen to men dressed as women just because they say that they think that they're women or they trying to be whatever the fuck it is. Y'all are in essence listening to men. You're so stupid. Y'all are so stupid. And you think that those persons who was just on the screen, I'm supposed to say, oh, that's a woman. I'm not dumb. I'm not stupid. I can see. I have eyes. Yes, I'm going to the eye doctor. But I do have eyes and I can see. And I see that y'all are fucking fools being led by people again. How are you led so fucking easily? Because you scared to say something? Because why? Somebody might say you not right or call you an obituarism.
They call them transphobic, but you know.
Fuck them. I have a right to my motherfucking opinion and who the fuck I choose not to rock with and not. Y'all are some bitch asses.
I do not understand this. I'm trying to say that men menstruate because they dress as women. That I don't understand. I really don't even have a rebuttal for it because I hope I don't need one. But if we're going to go back to like the trans issue, the drag queen issue, there have probably been drag shows since the beginning of time. People, are in the back.
Listen, I ain't got no problem with drag shows. You know, I got gays in my life. So we've had fun at some drag shows, okay? Guess what? Ain't no fucking kids there. There's a lot of inappropriate things that go on there. We have a good time. We eat well. We drink well. We go the fuck home. We ain't saying, you know what? Let me get you booked for my kid's school. Let me get you booked for my 5-year-old granddaughter's school. Let me get
Or library.
you booked actually for my 2-year-old grandson's daycare. This is no place in fucking schools. And if you live in these cities and you think this is okay, you are the fucking problem. If you want to go to a drag show, I don't have a problem with it. Again, Philly, I'm around Philly, Philadelphia. There's gays everywhere. There's a whole ass gayborhood is what it's called. I've been there. I love it there. We've had great times there. Out on the street, inside the clubs, and many of birthdays I've spent with my people. I love it. I have a great time. We are adults making adult decisions, not fucking kids. When we go to brunch, gays, I don't have a problem with it. You're pushing an agenda on children. That is up to a fucking parent to determine and decide, not a school. But y'all okay with this. But down there in the ATL, y'all got issue with the superintendent lady that ain't did shit because her husband does a daggone podcast. You want to hold her accountable to what someone else says, but y'all ain't got shit to say about this. This fucking United States is out of fucking control. This is why Donald Trump became fucking president. And this is why you Democrat crazy ass motherfuckers will lose again. You little testosterone male bitch ass motherfuckers. I'm telling you, I don't care. I look forward to it. And if you continue, of which you will, if JD Vance runs for president, I'm welcoming him in. If not, whoever it is, Marco Rubio or the other one will become president. You don't have to listen to me. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But if you think that this makes sense and is normal, you are the problem.
Galleys of Rome.
So we got to talk about the Democrat clown show that just never seems to end. Okay. In fact, it seems to get worse. As you guys saw at the beginning of this video, Democrats are openly promoting trans period pride, right?
Trans period pride.
You can't make this shit up.
Right. Trans period pride. Why would I need a trans to tell me about a fucking period? I can tell them. I'm 50 fucking 4, about to be 50 motherfucking 5, real female from the time I was born. Why do I need that motherfucker to tell me shit? Why would I need these motherfuckers to tell my grandkids shit?
Well,
I can tell them because I know what it is. I know how it works, and that's what the fuck I did. But you punk ass, bitch ass, alleged parents are so fucking lazy. You are so fucking lazy and so busy being woke that you don't even realize you're giving your fucking kids up to any old thing. And then we're supposed to care when some bullshit happens. And I don't. This is ridiculous. Oh, did I move?
Gene Moose gets seen here in a Cape May County.
Sorry.
You know, if it's really that bad, then I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't work, right? Maybe you should be a housewife. Maybe you actually do belong in the kitchen, right? It'd be much easier to deal with the pay. I'm just saying, than being at work, being in your own house. Okay. I think it would be easier to deal with the pay because that's ultimately what these women are asking for. They're asking for paid time off for their periods, right? That's what they're asking for. So I'm just saying, right? It's instead of these special accommodations.
Now you need paid time off, child. Lord help your people. Oh, wait a minute. I went too far. Hold on.
Signal just how far gone the Democrat Party is. And that is why she is getting backlash for promoting this event, right? She's offending women, right? By promoting this.
Now do you understand why Kamala lost name her?
I already figured that out a while back because of how absolutely incompetent she was.
Well, that too.
You didn't need this. I will say this though. Bear with me, my tongue's killing me. Cankers. Children are going to be asking questions, and I mentioned this, that parents need to step up and need to have discussions with their children that's age appropriate.
Yes.
It has to be gradual. On the flip side, I will say this, just to be devil's advocate. If you're so scared about trans, What about trans men or drag kings? Because at the end of the day, you don't recognize them as men. They're women as far as you're concerned.
Yeah.
And they can't. And if you put them around children, what are you going to see? A bunch of boys are going to see a lot of masculinity right there. Because remember, the drag kings and a lot of trans men exude that classic masculinity.
As a biological woman who also lives very close to Massachusetts, please stop saying that you guys just want to be treated like everybody else, because we don't do this. Okay, you guys are trying to preach equality, saying like, oh, trans people are just like, we don't do this. Biological women, cisgender, whatever you want to call us, we don't do this. We go ahead, we buy our pads, we buy our products, and we move about our day just like everybody else. We don't need to.
Because she did it. Say I'm lying. This is.
Salute, Dr. T. We were just playing your video, and we're going to come back to it.
One of them that allowed it to happen. Say I'm lying. This is your fault, bitch. Whoever this bitch is talking now, oh, ain't no takebacks, bitch. You allowed this. You supported this. Say I'm lying. Anybody think that this heifer on the screen is a liberal? Who thinks that she's a liberal, Bueller? Look at her. Look at her. These are the people that people want other people. These are the people that the Democrats, the liberals, the progressives want people to follow. She got Spider-Man on her fucking chest, something in her nose, crazy ass hair, sitting up here. Now she upset? No. No takebacks. You listen to him. You listen to him because you put this shit up on the table. It's your fault, bitch.
Bring awareness to menstruating. Seriously.
Look, y'all know I don't normally get into the trans conversation, okay? But when I woke up and
this is your fault, bitch. You take it. You take it. This is your fault too. Who don't think that this bitch is a liberal? Bueller? Anybody think that she's not a progressive liberal Democrat of some sort? This is your fault. Take it. Accept it.
I saw this morning, it actually pissed me off. And it should piss off every single fucking woman. The boss.
You can't be mad now. This is your fucking fault. You all did this. So now the people, women, mind you, bitches, right, that think they rule the fucking world and never think about how many times have I said you sitting up here pushing these agendas and you don't realize that you're impeding on your own fucking rights and you're going to see it later. Here we are today. Why does this matter so much to y'all? Oh, to go against men. That's what it's always about. Sassy straights all in. Sassy straights all of y'all. It is always about you. Say I'm lying. It is always about you. And these dumb bum fucks are not even realizing, just like with Funky Dineva. What did I say? He's sitting up here saying, black men are the problem in the black community. Sir, you're a black man.
Also, he's also the same black man that threatened to slap the crap out of Tasha K. Oops. He wanted to hit
what?
I don't know, man. Some beef there. I don't pay it. You know, Tasha K is who she is. I don't pay attention to her.
Right. Never heard of her. Does somebody threaten to slap somebody? I'm like, what the hell?
She's that chick that Cardi B sued for like $4 million. And Cardi B sued her for like $4 million because she lied on her. She's a big
defamation.
Yeah, for defamation. She's a big gossip channel. I just don't pay attention to her.
Good move.
But let's go back to Dr. T since he's in the chat. Let's go back to his video.
Countless cases where judges will just overturn it, give the child to the woman, even if she's a threat. You know, we know that that's not what's supposed to happen. You know, the law will say that, you know, that's not what they do, but it happens nonetheless. Yes. And yet nobody has much to say about it.
Didn't even look. And I think Nebraska has notoriously been known as like a mother first state, but
okay. I'm curious to hear why you guys think it's biased against fathers.
Kind of on the fence with it. I do agree from talking to many friends of mine that are men that have dealt with it, that they've gone through many situations where they feel that it's for the woman. My case is different, however, as I was speaking earlier offline, that I moved here from another state, and bringing my decree from another state to Nebraska, I would not say that Nebraska is for women. And just an example, something simple as, living in a different state and having to fly the kids back and forth. I wanted to take it to where instead of us meeting halfway, which would have been Oklahoma City, that we just pay half and half, like half of the flight for the two kids. And the court system did not go for it. They had me paying for both flights for them to see their father. So I've heard many situations where...
Yeah, but you had custody of the children. I think the court is looking at it like, if you're choosing to allow the father access, then you're going to have to help pay for it. But you're the one with custody.
Yep.
It's normal for one parent to pay half and the other parent pay half. But in my case, I was paying the full flight for two kids there and back 2 to 3 times a year. And, that to me is not fair.
I used to work in the child.
So it's not fair that you have to pay for 2 to 3 times a year, but you have the kids the entirety of the time, other than those 2 to 3 times, according to what she's saying. So it's interesting that she saw that as the court prioritizing fathers, when in actuality, they were prioritizing her having full custody. And they're saying, if you're going to allow them to go, then you're going to have to pay for that. Interesting judgment, but it doesn't prove a priority for fathers. It actually still illustrates a priority for mothers.
Yes.
The family services system, and I saw men get completely hosed, completely taken advantage of. Shoot, there's even something on the news recently, entertainment news, in the last week. They canceled The Bachelorette because of a domestic situation involving a child, and they have her on camera hurting the man, yet she came out, and the child, yet she came out and said, "I'm speaking for women that are usually silenced." I was offended as a woman. Like, you're not speaking for me. A man isn't always the villain. And the courts, for some reason, make it that way. I think it's a very archaic way.
Like, share, subscribe, hit the Cash App, support the show, hit the Super Chat, support the show.
The court works nowadays.
They don't really take domestic violence the opposite way as serious, because I had stuff in my records. I was like, she bit me. I was like, I had scratch marks, claw marks. And they were just like, whatever.
Yeah, let's be honest. It's Taylor Frankie Paul. Yeah, right. Yeah, she's still.
Yeah, fair use, by the way. But yeah, you can definitely see how even intimate partner violence, and they're white, still doesn't absolve. Well, it doesn't allow for the men to actually get access to their children or treated well or fairly in the family court, even when you have abuse on the table. Because again, if you look at the tradition of the Duluth model, the fundamental idea is that all violence stems from patriarchy. And on a practical level, that means even when a woman is being violent, the man is still responsible. Anyway.
I mean, yeah, she did hit her daughter in the head with the bar stool, and she also did get 95,000 likes on her last.
Hence the title of the stream. It's not about what you've done. It's always about what you haven't done.
Instagram post yesterday. So, and that's just me stating fact. I'm not saying that in any way. It's just what happened. So now I think that's a great time to bring up everyone that disagrees. So, which of you would like to start?
I think it depends upon what judge you get. I have helped women, over 250 women, write protection orders for domestic violence situations and still have serious, adequate reasons as to why their husband should not be anywhere near the children, and they still get 50-50 custody. So my argument is
there are individual cases where either the mother or the father shouldn't be anywhere near the kid. So to break it down in that way is just a bit disingenuous. There's just cases across the board where not only mothers and fathers, but hell, friends of the family, a lot of people shouldn't have access to the kids based on their behavior. But to suggest that this is somehow some widespread systemic thing by looking at the individual judges and the individual cases, it's a disingenuous argument to me.
Is not that it's biased towards men. I think it's biased towards 50-50. I think we're moving to a day and age where they immediately want to do 50-50 and they want to remove the court system from the decisions, and that they're pushing it more towards that.
I don't know how much of a problem I have with that
direction. So we're seeing more and more custody battles and things like that where it's just 50-50. And I don't know if any of you have ever been in a domestic
Shout out to Kentucky.
Violence situation before, but when that happens, like, they remove you in most states. It's different state by state, case by case, all of that. And even in custody battles and things like that, because you guys multiple of you talked about like protection orders and things like that, but they have to remove one of you if the police show up or whatever. But then the police say, "Oh, that's not my problem. That's something that you do in family court. You have to go to the courthouse, do all that nonsense." But what I will tell you is that in situations where women really, really needed that because that person had more money, I firmly believe that if you have the more money, you're going to win your custody battle.
Bullshit. Because if that was the case, you wouldn't have these issues impacting men across race and across class.
Well,
it's not but that's not what we're hearing. In terms of divorce judgments, in terms of custody judgments, in terms of, no. If it was just about money, then men would not be having these complaints about access to their children.
It depends upon how much you spend on your lawyer, what you do, all of that situation. That's what actually matters. I don't really think there's a bias. I think it's more along the lines of it sucks because if you don't have the pocketbook for it, you're going to lose. And
so something we haven't touched topic on with everything is, okay, fathers, mothers, custody. I don't think they're biased towards dads. I understand what you guys are saying with the bias towards dads. It used to be that way, like in the 50s and things like that. Nebraska's actually more of a father state now. It really is. But
bias against dads.
Yeah, well, here, how about fighting the courts, period, for your kids? Where are you biased there? They're biased against everybody because I'm dealing with it. I've dealt with it and I'm dealing with it.
They're not fair. They're not for the people. They're against everything. They want to fight, take their people apart because it's happened and it keeps on happening.
I would hate to be a judge. I would hate to be in that situation because I feel like it's hard to make a decision of what needs to be done based off of what you're seeing right in front of you. I mean, because anything can be construed however a person wants it to be displayed. I mean, I can be made to look crazy and they can be made to look like they're a great person. And so the decision, I think, is hard for a judge. But with that being said, I do believe that just because of the nature of people, there's a lot of bad people on both sides. And so with people making bad decisions or, not so great decisions, it makes it hard to, have a one for all for everything.
And the other thing that is like so frustrating, and it's so frustrating when you're sitting in the courtroom and you're like watching it, not an attorney or anything like that, and just really care about people, is when you have an attorney that might be greener and they have like hardcore evidence of something and the attorney doesn't put it in properly, which this happened to me, by the way. And then you're screwed. Like you have everything that you, like in my situation, I had everything.
I gotta say, one of the things I noticed when they have these cross-gender dialogues is that I think men in many ways have been socialized to be very deferential to women, even when women are off the point, even when women are making points that are abstract, that are far too particular and not necessarily systemic. Men give up way too much ground and stay quiet out of deference to women in far too many cases. And then they, especially when you start to hear people making that it happens to everybody, it's both of us bullshit argument. No,
it's both sides. How many times have we heard that? It's both sides.
It's not.
And that's the thing I gotta say.
Really.
And that's the thing I gotta mention first and foremost. People forget there's a documentary called Divorce Court. And they don't talk about how much of a business this family court thing is in the U.S. and other countries, but in the U.S. in particular. Well, go ahead.
All right, let's continue.
Not. Women are making they're choosing divorce at a clip over 70%. And most of the time they're getting access to their kids. This is not happening to both of us the same way. But they're allowing her to say this and not really contradicting her. But let's see if anybody throws something at her in a minute.
Thing that was in the place that at the time was best for the kids. Do I think what's best for my kids now is different? Absolutely, because time has passed and things have gotten better. But at the time, like, things were really bad, right? And because I had a green attorney, basically the way that they admitted some of my evidence, it got just thrown out and they didn't look at it. And so basically that judge didn't get to see that evidence because it wasn't put in properly. And I'm not the only person that this has happened to. And so when it comes to family issues and stuff like this, like, I'm a firm believer that the court should have absolutely nothing to do with it. But the problem is when y'all can't get along, right? Who do we go to? We go to the courts. And because marriage and things like that and custody is a legal thing now, like, it's up to them. And it's very complicated, but I personally don't think there's a bias. I think a judge can have a bias. I think if you get a judge, right, in those situations and you look at how they've ruled in the past, which if you have a really good attorney, they will tell you exactly what they have done in the past. So you know whether or not there's going to be a bias.
See, me and all my homie situations, we're biases and we all take care of our kids. We all, we're doing all right financially. And she did all right financially too, but it was still biased as hell. Like, she got to choose when I get to see my kid and everything. They didn't even give me my input on, like, hey, what day works for you? No, it was just like whatever she said. Like, they gave her the chance to be like, hey, I want him to be able to see his kid this day and that day or whatever like that. They didn't give a fuck about what my agenda was or what I had to do.
Did you have an attorney?
Oh yeah, I had an attorney. I dropped like 5-10 racks on an attorney. They didn't give a fuck about that. They just cared about what the mom wanted to do.
Your attorney, did he push?
Yeah, they don't care. Like, it was all they cared about was they automatically assumed me was a bad guy. Like, everything was my fault because I'm the dad. That's what they assume. Oh, what did he do now? You know what I mean? Like, that's what they
I just
assume.
want your opinion. Obviously, every state is different. But in New York, if the mother doesn't want joint custody, the father's out of luck.
Don't matter if you're a millionaire or a billionaire.
Or
period.
basically, my lawyer said, be prepared to spend a crap load of money or take it as it is. So, I mean, obviously you have your opinion. I'm, respectful of that, but I would love to know your opinion on that aspect.
Well, like I only know about Nebraska.
We should look
but-
it up. We should look up the statistical number on like which cases are favored more in the mother and the father for Nebraska.
I always thought it was like common.
I got 35 watching. Like, share, subscribe. Hit the Cash App, support the show. Hit the Super Chat, support the show. We're watching Dr. T talk about the family court.
Knowledge that the women always get the children. Is that not a true thing?
Back in
Black America.
the day, because that's old time, that's how it
How
is.
old time?
That's old time. That's how I'm not that old, okay?
No,
She's always trying to push this argument back to the 1950s, but that's bullshit. It's still happening now.
Yes.
I know you're not referencing you. I just mean like.
Just like he was saying, like back in the 50s, back then, and I use that example for my grandparents, 50s style housewife, because that's how it went. Mothers are mothers. They're supposed to be the mothers. Men are men. They're supposed to be masculine. That's originally how it all goes.
But it should be that today.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that's where everybody's thinking that.
I would never say there ain't, because there's men that don't take care of their kids that age.
Yeah.
And I don't hang out with
There
them
are women that don't take care of their kids, though, even if they have their kids.
I was also going to say, I know that people talk a lot about domestic violence, which of course is bad, but I feel like there isn't enough emphasis on the mental health part of it, because you have a lot of people that are dealing with narcissism or any other type of mental health or personality disorders, and it's like I said earlier, it's easy to play a part for a short amount of time in front of a judge.
I worked in that system, and I saw men not even be given the opportunity, not even be given the chance to get their kid. I mean, I had cases where women were gone, and the men were like, "I'm here, I want to do this," and they weren't even allowed to.
And they're biased against everybody.
One of my really, really good friends.
Now that's real interesting. She just made an argument that this is happening to men. The woman next to her immediately tried to shift it to it happens to everybody. That's not what she said. And you've provided no data to suggest otherwise. No, nobody is really in this particular discussion. But still, to see her take that argument and flip it to everybody with no kind of qualification, no additional information to rationalize why she was able to successfully shift the argument, I find that, that's problematic.
Like very checkered past, so is his baby mama, right? But she ended up in prison. Well, she got out of prison, okay? And now she's able to fight for custody for the kid and stuff like that in those situations. And in that situation, he just got a really bad judge, because the judge that he had was one of the judges that knew him from his priors, right? But he has since gotten sober, changed his life, done everything possible. So I personally believe that it's not necessarily a gender bias from a father to a mother, where it's just the court is just effed up. And nobody wants to do anything about it, or they want to do something about it, but because it's so convoluted, it's like the foster care system, because it's so convoluted and already messed up.
Well, like we talked about earlier, though, it's like it's a lottery pool. It's like, what judge am I going to get?
Right.
Am I going to get a judge that sides with fathers, or am I going to get a judge that just says 50-50, or you get a weekend and every other Wednesday or something? I
genuinely feel that if you can afford like a $800 an hour attorney is killer, you'll win every time.
So it's pay to play.
I get into this with my students too. When they start giving me I feel answers, if I'm like,
would you like to talk about AL? I feel
an assignment, and I ask you, what did the assignment say?
Hey, that's a goddamn cuss word. We don't use that word in the black manosphere. I told y'all that word is fucking barred from our lexicons. And if I hear another one of y'all using it, even in sarcasm, I'm gonna cuss you out. Friend or foe, it don't matter. 2026.
Aspects of it.
To your point,
I first have to know that you actually read it.
Go ahead, Emery.
To your point, first and foremost, I have to call out bullshit, because in the media, we've seen, and many of us have seen movies and TV movies where they try to paint the woman as a victim in a custody battle. If that were true, hang on. But if that were, because that's what they always do in the media, try to portray men as the evil ones who try to keep their children away from the mothers, and the mothers the victims in custody battle. Yeah. But to that, I'm glad there was a movie starring Robin Williams called Mrs. Doubtfire. Y'all remember that movie? Mrs. Doubtfire?
Yes.
That's the truth about men trying to fight for custody of their children and trying to have access to be in their children's lives. Bro, go ahead.
Hey, AB.
Yeah.
I think it's a time where it's appropriate to use I feel.
What? Hell no. Never. There's never no right time to use it.
Wait, I could give it to you right now, AL. I feel chicken is the best food out there.
You low down, dirty son bitch. I done told y'all once. I done told y'all twice. Don't be talking that blasphemy around me. My ears do not want to hear such varmint talk. God damn it. Y'all play too much.
I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to hear nothing about that death bird. I hate that death bird.
Right back.
Wait. There is a time to say I feel. For example, I feel uncomfortable with this conversation. I feel sick to my stomach at the moment. I feel pain right now in my back. I feel my stomach in knots right now. We have feelings. We're allowed to have our feelings. But when I say, or I can say, I feel something, I'm talking about, I have a gut feeling about something, which is AKA your instincts, or as women would prefer to call, intuitions.
No,
and by the way, to Dr. T, the panel, notice the woman with the glasses was always saying, she was talking about her attorney and everything, always saying it's somebody else's fault when she can't take accountability for her mistakes or how she handled the case, and thinking, oh, I'm gonna get this and that and the third, but it turned out, her attorney was incompetent. Bitch, you chose him. Or should I say, that was all you could afford at the time. Deal with it.
Yeah.
And by the way, here's the theme to tonight's Colosseum. Janet Jackson's "What Have You Done For Me Lately?" Thank you, Eddie Murphy, for bringing that up back in '87.
Mm-hmm.
What have you done for me lately?
Yeah, let's get back to Dr. T.
When I ask you what the assignment was, what did it say? And you start talking about, well, I feel, no, that to me is a deflection. You're trying to get away with making about how you feel, which really to me is a cover.
Kudos,
not
good
actually
job.
doing the
Kudos.
assignment. I don't care about how you feel about what the author said. I want to know that you
That's
know what
my
the author
doctor.
said first.
That's
Kind of
my
what I think is
doctor.
happening in that little moment right there. I feel like if you got an $800 an hour lawyer, you'll be good. No, that's your feelings. That has nothing to do with reality.
For your children?
Yes.
I will say from personal experience, like having more money than the mom, they were like, I've had lawyers be like, we can drag this out until she has no more money if you want. I was like, no, I want to move on with my life. I don't want to drag it through the court system, but that is the strategy.
I know that they witch hunt men. I've seen it because they even did it to my ex-husband, who has never had a record. He's never had anything. And I remember my son was a toddler and he had a birthmark right near his behind. And they changed his diaper and they were like, is that a bruise? Did daddy spank you? And he was like, yeah, daddy spanked. You could barely speak. And CPS got called. I got interviewed. And the first thing I said was, that's a birthmark. And they had to go to his doctor's records. Look, yep, it's a birthmark. They wanted to just throw the book at swatting a kid's behind over a birthmark.
But because that was at like daycare?
That was at school.
That was at school?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that, just throwing it out there, do you think, because, teachers are mandatory reporters, right?
We all are.
Right. Do you think that if you were just a single mom and dad wasn't involved, that they would have come after you? Because I think they would have come after you.
I don't think so. I think they would have looked at it as a birthmark because it didn't even look like a bruise. I'm going to be honest with you.
I think the reason why it can't necessarily be fixed is because there's so many different situations. Every single situation is different. Obviously, in a perfect world, if you had a couple that is cordial with each other, that everything would be okay. Let's just do it this way. Everything is fine. But since you have all of the different things, that some that you can show up and prove, some that you can't, a judge might be not feeling 100% that day, might have their mind some half out.
They keep trying to individualize the situation. This is the thing I notice. When women advocate for other women or for womanhood and women in general, they have no problem seeing the connections on a wider scale. When it comes to men, too often what I find is women will try to distill it down to a judge, distill it down to the particular couple and how that divorce went. And it's not to say that those things don't have impact, but when you all of a sudden can't even conceive of the notion that this is something that may impact men as a whole differently than women, then we have to get into the minutia of walking through the woods and arguing about every individual leaf. Well, maybe it was just the judge that day. Maybe the judge had a bad morning. They weren't feeling well, and they just decided you couldn't have access to your children. Really? this often across states with different laws in play, and this is your conclusion? Okay.
Out the door
It's
because
called
of something else that they
intellectual
have going on in their
dishonesty.
personal life. I mean, there's so many different variables that go into it that, you know, and then of course you have them trying to make a formula to make it, you know, cover most bases when it doesn't.
Sure. I went out on a date, and the girl asked me, and a hypothetical.
Okay, I'm not going to get. They're moving to a different subject. I do want to show you this though, right? So, this is another blog.
I know this is long, but it's important.
Piece I wrote years ago. This is dated 2018. Why was Black Generation X fatherless? A brief statement on why many Black men left the family in the 1970s. And you notice that's in quotation marks because Black men are the most involved parents, the most involved fathers across race. I will say that there have been a lot of Black men that have been pushed out of families. But in this particular piece, I try to explain early on some of the issues that led to Black men finding reasons to marry less. And we're going to look at some of that in a moment. But the reason I bring that up here is because I think there's something important to talk about in relation to these judgments that they were, you know, debating about back and forth. And that's here. If you look at this section here, you know, on this whole question of child support, right? The issue of child support is incredibly important. And as it relates to how these judgments are treated, I kept hearing them talk about, well, the one gentleman said, well, yeah, you know, if you have more money, you can, you know, the lawyer suggested I could just wait her out until she goes broke. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but let's put some shit in context, please. Right? 20% of the people in the system shouldn't be in there because they're too poor. It says David J. Pate, an associate professor of social work at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Those $10,000 or even $20,000 earners, the government, according to Pate, is owed $115 billion in child support, but 70% of that money is owed by Americans who make less than $10,000 a year.
Well,
now, who are the which gender is in the majority as far as paying child support? You tell me. So if that many of them are owed, you know, that many of them owe child support, and a lot of it has to do with how much they're earning, then how many of these stories are we going to follow where $10,000 and $20,000 earners are outweighing their wives and family shit because they're paying lawyers and until their wives go broke and can't afford to fight back? That's stupid. If you look at the data, we're talking overwhelmingly about mostly poor people. This is not something that men in general are able to outweight women on. Maybe some white men can do that, some Black men can do it, but the overwhelming majority of people are not balling. Now, I wanted to show you this before we get into a few charts that put some more things in context. This illustrates the marriage rate, you know, in the Black community. This is pretty straightforward. I figure most people in this circle of the internet probably know this, but the marriage rate in the Black community has declined significantly over the past 6 decades.
Yep.
Failing by roughly half. In 1960, about 61% of Black adults were married. By the early 2010s, this rate had bottomed out near 29-30%. Today, that percentage has seen a modest rebound, hovering around 33 to 35%, right? So just to kind of put some things in context, you can kind of see that there. Now, moving on, this is from blackdemographics.com. Shout out to them. I am a paying subscriber to their website. I suggest you do so. I think it's only like $2.99 a month, but it will help them keep their information up to date. Now, this is an older chart. It deals with 1890 to 2010, but it does highlight marriage. And you know, we're going to look at a couple more charts, but this is for Black men. Black men more likely to be married than white men until 1960. And then you see a shift, right? So whether you're talking about employment issues going on in 1960, whether you're talking about the early stages of, the incarceration rate issue, right? This would be earlier than that. That doesn't come about till the 1970s, but there's always been a longstanding practice of it on a lower level. There's a number of things going on in 1960 that could have played into this, but we notice in 1960, we actually start to see the crossover between white and Black men, and the rates of never married men that you see in red going up and up and up all the way to 2010, are Black men, right? But for us, it begins in 1960. Now, for Black women, it's different. Black women more likely to be married than white women until 1970. And it shifts for Black women a decade later, where they start to get married less than white women. And that goes all the way up to 2010. The percent never married among women aged 35 and older by race, 1890 to 2010, same time frame. They start to pull away from marriage about 10 years after Black men. This next chart, all three of these are coming straight from blackdemographics.com. So again, shout out to them. This chart kind of charts the whole shift in marriage in relation to the war on drugs, right? Most particularly in the 1980s and 90s, but you can see it goes from 1890 to 2010 as well. And it basically argues that from 1980 to 2000, the Reagan, Bush, Clinton era, you saw the highest rise in, Black folk pushing away from marriage, right? But the highest rates of incarceration for Black men, the war on drugs, all these things happening at critical juncture.
94 crime bill. 94 crime bill. Anyway.
Right. And you can see it play out here. So, just some things to put the whole question of marriage in context. Right. But these are also happening alongside the same time frame in the 1960s and 70s where women began to gain power in family court. They began to gain access to the nod, as it were, from judges and from the courts itself in their favor, as far as custody, child support, and alimony. Right? So these next two slides are going to be the last ones I show. And this is going to talk about family court as we understand it and what the data shows around it. So on the left, you have custody statistics, right? Who ends up as the custodial parent more often? According to the most recent U.S. Census Bureau data, 2022, 78.2% of mothers and 21.8% of fathers get custody. In other words, 4 out of 5 custodial parents are mothers, right? Now, we also know that there have been longstanding social practices that go back, making the argument that women are the, kind of standard parent. So there's a lot of factors that go into this. But there have been numerous documented cases of fathers who, have proven that they were the better parent. They actively fought for custody, but were often dismissed and turned down, right? Yep. Next one over, has this changed over time? Fathers as custodial parents. We see from 1994 to 2022, fathers as custodial parents went from 16% to 21.8%, right? So they've gained some grounds, but mothers are still the primary custodians of the children, right? When custody actually goes to the court, this is the bottom left, one major study of disputed custody cases found, right, that sole mother custody is about 57% when custody goes to court. Joint custody is about 27%. Sole father custody is about 7%. And even other exceeds sole father custody. Now, obviously, I'm a
like, share, subscribe, hit the Cash App, support the show. Hit the Super Chat, support the show.
Widow, but I was a single father, so I have an open space in my heart for single fathers in particular, because there's a particular struggle nobody talks about when being a single father, especially in the Black community. One of the things that would happen on a regular basis is I would find myself in spaces around mostly mothers, whether it's the PTA, whether it's birthday parties for the kids, whether it's daycare, and talking with other parents and administrators, after school programs. In most of those cases, I found myself to be in a very small population of men. It was mostly women who, were the majority in the space and were, in leadership positions, even as teachers and principals and whatnot. These were primarily female-led spaces. And yet in those spaces, when they began to share resources on how they could get help for different things, very few would allow me to participate in those conversations. In fact, they would go so far as to whisper out of earshot so that I wouldn't be able to gain access to the resources they would share with one another. When I did find out about those resources, they often didn't apply to men because the assumption was, as a man, I was well-to-do. I had more money than they, and therefore didn't need any help, right? Even with a doctorate and a professorship, it was really difficult, and I often didn't have it. And not just by the time I was a single parent, but throughout my adult life, there was much of the time I was broke. I was a student, I was, all of that. And even when I was out of school and working, broke. But those resources weren't available to me. They were shared in a network of women to women, but I wasn't allowed to participate in those discussions, even though I was broke and I was a single parent. So I had to just struggled through by myself. And many men find themselves in those scenarios. So the strange case of being a single father is you often don't get much help, right? Bottom right, child support statistics. Because mothers are far more likely to be custodial parents, men are much more likely to pay child support. Among custodial parents, mothers receive child support at a 79% clip, fathers a 30% clip. Interestingly, custodial fathers are actually less likely than custodial mothers to receive the full amount ordered. I had a friend of mine in the 1980s that was successful in getting child support, a child support judgment from the court, meaning that his ex-wife had to pay child support to him, which was unheard of in the 1980s, especially from a black male who got custody of his kids successfully. She never once paid child support order. And there were a couple of times when they went to arrest him, and one cop explained it. He said, oh, well, we just saw the name and we saw child support and we just assumed that you were the one that hadn't paid. They literally.
Think about that for a minute. The baby mama's the one owes the child support, but they go to arrest him because it's so common that it's the man that owes child support. Let that sink in. It's fucked up.
Literally tried to lock him up a couple of times, if I'm not mistaken, and he had to walk them through the paperwork so that they actually realized that she was the one that was supposed to be arrested for not paying child support, and they never arrested her once. Not once. But they were ready to arrest him, even though he was the one that should have been getting child support payments. All right, this is the last chart. Historically on the left, this is about alimony statistics. Sorry, I got cut off at the top there. Historically, men paid the overwhelming majority of alimony awards. Women were generally assumed to be economically dependent. Till the 1970s, many laws explicitly reflected a breadwinner homemaker model. Yeah, unfortunately, they really haven't sufficiently updated that, in my opinion. But let's see. Modern laws are gender neutral. Bullshit. They're gender neutral in terms of how they're written. Doesn't mean they're applied that way when people actually start making judgments.
Exactly.
But men still pay most alimony because men typically earn more income after divorce. Modern estimates generally place male alimony payers at 90% plus of awards. The exact percentages vary by state, and there is centralized national data on alimony. There's less centralized national data on alimony than on custody or child support. But so far from what we get from the Spousal Support Advisory Guidelines 2023 is that men pay alimony at a rate of 90% in an era where women working is as common as anything else. Plenty of women that out earn. I mean, you hear women bragging about out earning men and owning more property than men, much of it facilitated through divorce, but still. And yet the majority of alimony payers are men. Structural argument, a chain of statistics. Number one, mothers are custodial parents in roughly 80% of cases. 2, fathers therefore become the overwhelming majority of non-custodial parents. 3, non-custodial parents, mostly fathers, bear most support obligations. 4, enforcement tools such as wage garnishment, license suspension, tax intercepts, passport restrictions, and contempt proceedings are directed primarily at non-custodial parents, mostly fathers. And 5, fathers with reduced parenting time are less likely to remain engaged and less likely to remain compliant with support obligations. Right. So fathers who don't get as much time with their kids are less likely to remain engaged and be compliant with support obligations. All right. The point, though, that much of this, these last 2 slides you saw, which is actually one document, what it illustrates is that men are definitely mistreated by family court practices. And if this is happening across race, then the impact on the Black community is that much more dire. And thus the impact on Black men is that much more dire because we are a community without wealth in any significant way. We do not have wealth, especially in comparison with other groups. And so when you apply policies that even appear to be gender neutral, but have an inbred bias against men, it's going to have an adverse effect on Black men on a whole nother scale because we don't come from wealth. And that's the reality of it. Wealth is not just money. I mean, you can make $100,000 a year or more and still come from a family that has no wealth. If your income is, if your money is based on income, is based on a check, that's not the same thing as wealth. We come from no wealth. So these practices have an adverse effect on Black men, and they definitely highlight the extent to which the family court has adversely impacted Black men in general, and thus the Black family. And this is what I mean when I say family court and the fall of Black America, the institution nobody wants to discuss. This is at the foundation, one of the major pillars of the Black Gynocracy.
Pretty much.
Is that they have access to this and what they can do to Black men, even just removing them from families, making it so difficult to the point where they can't see their kids for such a long period of time that Black men find themselves basically exiled from the family. The only reason she has the power to do this is the family court. Even when he's paying on time, even when there are agreed upon pickup times, it's confirmed by a judge, she can still withdraw and not have him have access, and often not even get a slap on the hand. This is what I mean by the exile of men from families. This is the breakdown of the nuclear family. It's not deadbeat dads. It's mothers that have the resources through the family court to expel men from the family.
Yes.
And then turn around and call Black men deadbeat dads, put it in Steven Spielberg-led Black feminist films since the 1980s, and tell the world that Black men are horrible fathers that don't care about their families. This is what we're talking about.
It's diabolical. And that's about the end of this video. Y'all's thoughts on this?
I'm not surprised, but it does add a little more extra meat to the sandwich, so to speak.
Yes.
It gives you a little extra, it puts a little, fleshes out the ideas we're talking about. And you see to what extent that the divorce courts, the family courts and everything are a huge money-making racket.
Yes. Unfortunately.
And they're not concerned about what's best for the child or what's in the child's best interest.
At all.
No, it's not. It's about trying to keep Black men in a position of perpetual, you're the designated underclass. They need to keep you in that position, so to speak. And this is one way. I mean, ask yourself this. And how many other countries do you see men being incarcerated because they fall behind on their child support or their payments? How does that help them in the long run?
How does it help
them? It's about punishing. It doesn't help anybody except the prison industrial complex. But go ahead.
Yeah. How does it help? How does it help the state to get its money when you take away their license? Because now they don't have to drive themselves to work. I mean, seriously.
Your driver's license, your vehicle registration, repo. BGS had this clip back on his MGTOW channel called the Underground Railroad for Single Fathers, where there were organizations trying to help men escape the system and help them find new lives in other countries where their skills are very much required.
Yes.
They can start new lives there under new names, and they can protect, and that's how they protect themselves, especially when they're in a position where they could end up being incarcerated because they're so supposedly behind on their child support payments. And not to mention, say a man's able to pay his child support, but we forget, as Eddie Murphy mentioned in 1987, women are vindictive.
Yes, they are.
And a woman will take a child away, will do anything she can to alienate the father. And while she's doing that, she will do to the child what she could not do to the father. Hence the son-husband phenomenon, and why certain children are so screwed up. And people forget, women are just as abusive, if not more abusive than fathers. Women are far more abusive to children than men are. I mean, in the past, hunter-gatherers, especially Neanderthal kids, they will snuff out a child. They will snuff out a child's life for the sake of the tribe.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Speaking of which, oh, we got go ahead and read that for me, please.
Okay. Horowitz, Feinberg, and Horowitz. Oh, this must be the discount you got for because he's a great lawyer. Got you all out of YouTube prison. He says, you saw that vid by AC about the fathers in divorce refusing all visitation and the judge wanting to increase support on that reason alone.
No, I
Thank you for the $10 holla. Go ahead.
And thanks for that shout out for the $10 holler. You get a cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. You better thank you, donuts.
I thought that was a rebate. Okay. I mean, Horowitz, Feinberg's, and Horowitz. These are guys. This is a great law firm, folks. And they're still working on BGS. Free BGS, free BGS, free BGS.
Oh, you just gave me an idea, but we'll talk about that later. Well, I'll deal with that later. But anyway, yeah.
Get the fuck out, bitch! A customer got into a fight after a McDonald's employee refused to mix her smoothie flavor. The video shows the customer walking behind the counter and constantly pulling and tugging at the staff, even giving the manager a heavy punch in the face. Then the
So, black women ask us to protect them, but who's going to protect us from them? Just saying.
manager asked
Now,
her to
AB.
leave, and she began to defend herself against the attack she had just made. After being kicked out of the counter by the manager,
Yeah.
Now, AB, the customer's always right, sarcastically speaking.
Yeah, whatever.
the customer walked towards the beverage machine, prepared a drink for themselves, then returned to the counter and attempted to approach the smoothie machine. But the diligent employee refused, and then the customer poured the drink at the clerk, and the two of them got into a scuffle. After the police arrived, the customer was immediately arrested and identified as 44-year-old Helena Cleveland. The police investigation revealed that
Go for that, man.
Helena had been imprisoned for
You're embarrassing my generation.
2 years for assaulting her grandmother. During an argument, she threw her grandmother to the ground and threw a desk lamp at her. In the end, the police charged Helena with 2 counts of assault and...
Like I said, who's going to protect us from you? You do that to your own grandmother? Really?
A lot of y'all problems in y'all marriage is because y'all be picking y'all friends and family sides over your spouse, and that's not how that's supposed to be. At no point should you be putting anybody else above.
Bruh, the last time I checked, the bitches is the life of the motherfucking party, okay? Without us, it will be nothing, okay? You men...
I'm sorry, but looking at you, ma'am, that makes me not want to go to a party. I'm sorry. Sorry. Nah, I'm good. I'd rather sit play Mass Effect. I'd rather go.
AB?
Yeah.
As Kenshi once said in his dialogue with Johnny Cage, legal blindness has its benefits.
Yes, it does. Oh, yes, Lord.
Y'all are boring as fuck, okay?
And what you gonna do about it? Okay, you think I'm boring. So what? Why should I care?
Go find somebody else. Go find somebody else.
Johnny Cage.
Go. This is AI, and all I have to say is damn.
I will tear you in half, you insolent human. Round 1. Excellent. Outstanding.
His legs are broken and all kind of shit in real life. Being flung around like a rag doll like that, man, nah.
Don't make me laugh.
That must hurt a lot, huh?
I will crush you for that. Finish him. Johnny Cage wins.
To my biggest fan.
Friendship. I rule this world.
What would y'all do if y'all saw a kid doing this in Walmart?
The reason why George Zimmerman.
Yeah, when this girl said she was not getting her diploma for doing the splits, this is not what I thought she did.
Damn. I mean, she just dropped it like it's hot and
My grandma would have oh my God, I could only imagine doing this shit in front of like my uncles and my grandma and my sister and my aunt. Whoa.
Yeah. Back at my day, you would got oh my goodness, you would got dragged for doing some shit like that.
No, that's insane. That's insane. That is insane. My family would have disowned me. Yeah, when this girl said
Is a man.
Coming from someone who's dated both, I could really say women are worse. Like, the shit I've experienced with a woman, I have never, ever experienced with a man. Like, I really hate to be on the man's side. That shit is so, like, it's a disgrace.
My experience dating females the last month is like, bitch, I hate it. Y'all worse than the niggas.
I don't know about y'all.
That's all right, baby. Just put a dress on. You'll be all right. Bend over my couch. You'll be all right. Let me shut up.
But I think
you nasty.
That's just my opinion. I'm here to argue all day. When I stopped dating men and started dating women, I had no idea this would be the hardest
That's all right, baby. Just put a dress on. You'll be all right.
thing to do.
Oh, I've been done dating men years ago.
Good.
Women, I'm done. No.
You can always get a vibrator.
Dating women is so expensive, and I completely understand why some bisexual or pansexual people say that they only date men when they're broke, and they date women when they have money and have a job. Because to me, that's the.
This is why men say we don't listen. In this video, I stated the courts, right? And then I also.
Yeah, when this girl said she was.
Is a man who is willing to take care of you, the kids, and the household, but has no ambition worse than women.
When you say take care of, what do you mean?
He pays all
Okay, he's paying all the bills, but he has no ambition. Really?
the bills. He take care of the kids. He step in. How he do that with no ambition? No, he got money. I want more.
See, it's always about what you paying all your bills and you're still complaining.
And she resents him for it. It's that resentment and contempt.
Yes. All the bills? And you make more money.
I don't believe a word.
Here we go.
Mention that you make more money than him, and I want you to know that was not done by mistake.
Say that again.
I said I don't believe a fucking word she has to say. Period.
That was a systemic thing that was put into place so that the black woman can be elevated to start looking at they men like they're not doing enough. It is very intentional, the fact that you make more money, and even though your man is showing up for you, you start looking at him for like, why can't you do more?
The fact that this man is covering the bills, even though he knows you make more, let me tell you what he's doing. This man is willing to maybe put things on pause so that you can elevate. Think about it. What you make becomes almost just yours. What you choose to do, you have the freedom to pivot and pivot and pivot. Try this, go to school, because this man is saying, I'm going to sacrifice and take care of the foundational things so that you can have a choice whether or not you want to work or not. And so when you saying that man lacked ambition, I just think it's ambition in a direction you can't recognize.
Is a man who is willing to take.
Pitiful.
Understand, first and foremost, she has nothing but AL, can you mute up for a minute, please?
I got him.
AL? Thank you. Anyway, you look at this woman and how she responded and everything when the panel, you know, called her out. She was like, "Wow." She is mad. She's upset that they didn't take her side. First of all, she took it personally. Secondly, she is expressing her resentment and contempt. And when she says she makes more money than he does, I would ask, what do you do for a living, first of all? And what does he do for a living? And the woman who said, you don't understand the struggles, she doesn't care. No, she's upset. She's upset with her lot in her life, so to speak, halfway. Like, I make more money, I'm more ambitious, and I'm stuck with this fool right here. Baby, you got to be thankful, especially like you're saying, the housing market, the job market being cooked as is right now, you got to be thankful with what you have. You're just too busy caught up resenting the things you don't have.
Right.
And if you don't feel it, I mean, there are women out there who are looking for a man like that right now. But I know a lot of those women don't deserve a man like that because they're probably just as dysfunctional, just as ratchet, just as ungrateful as you are. And more likely they don't make as much as you, for that matter.
And see, here's something else that a lot of women don't be thinking about. See, you're still ungrateful, and that's the reason y'all be getting cheated on too. Oops, did I say that out loud?
It's interesting you bring that up because one of the things I remember Patrice O'Neill said is like, when a man knows he's not appreciated, he just takes his energy and devotes it to something else.
Yes.
Whether it's his work, his children, his ambitions. And if he decides to get some strange, he's going to get some strange. I remember there was a clip where a white woman was mad at her husband when she found out he was cheating on her. He was stepping out with a younger woman, and this younger woman wasn't significantly more attractive than her. She's like, "What is it? Is she prettier than me? She's this and that. Is she younger than me? Is she fat?" And he looked at her and said, because she's nicer to me.
Mm-hmm.
She shows genuine concern for me. She doesn't yell at me. She doesn't call me an idiot. She doesn't think my ideas are stupid. She doesn't think that I'm useless. She shows me genuine appreciation. Who remembers the show Insecure? When what's his name? Jay Ellis's character. Is it Elliot?
I don't know.
Is the name Elliot. Issa Rae resented him because he couldn't get where he needed to be. But Tasha saw the ambition in him. Tasha was raised to be a wife, by the way. Issa Rae wasn't. And Tasha was showing genuine affection, genuine interest in him, even though he had to tell her, I can't do it. I'm in a relationship right now. But once Issa cheated on him, he just got out of that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And let's not forget, he found what he needed in the Indian chick, Aparna.
Yeah, I know. I watched that show, so
I don't blame you. I mean, why do you think Beyonce and everybody in Destiny Child, they had a song called "With Me," where they're singing from the other one's perspective and just throwing it in the main chick's face? Your man is with me and he's happy with me, especially considering how much you kick him around and just disrespect him. because you think you have him on lock. You don't. A man can just get up and leave, woman.
Yes.
I'm not saying brothers should cheat. I say, fellas, if your woman's not appreciative of you, you withdraw from her. And decide the exit plan. But
yeah. Let your feet do the talking.
Yeah. Your feet, your wallet, everything else.
No, that's all I got for y'all today. I like to. Any last words before I cut out?
Well, there's two things. One, free BGS. Number two, just remember, y'all ain't shit, never been shit, never will be shit, and God bless y'all for it.
Yeah. I'd like to thank everybody that came through. This is AB Media 83, and I'm out. If you like the show, hit the Cash App, support the show. Hit the Super Chat, support the show. Yo, this is AB Media 83. To support the channel, hit the Cash App. Also, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the video. Also, be sure to hit that bell notification so you can be notified the next time I upload a live stream, video, or short. And always remember, guard your image, guard your peace. Keep it moving. This is AB Media 83, and I'm out. Peace.